Chapter 27:16 Evil Spirit Grand Pill Refiner. Chapter 27:16 Evil Spirit Grand Pill Refiner. Line up. Everyone, line up. If anyone doesn't listen, I, your father, have 100 ways to kill him. Did you hear that? Who do you think you are? You are just low-level muggle. What do you think you can do after entering the universal realm? All of you are just adding fodder and ants to the universal realm. You may have been strong in the past, and were the world's top powerhouse, but here, you guys aren't even dog shit. A long corridor of the netherworld was packed with people. These people had all successfully transcended tribulation from the lower planes, and were sent here by the divine light. Here. Universal Realms Transition Station. It could also be said to be the Universal Realms Bridge of Helplessness, the Reincarnation Tower. Anyone who succeeded in undergoing a tribulation in a low plane would have to enter the universal realm from here. This place was also known as the first stage of the primal chaos. Everyone here were all former genius decision-makers. They were the super powerhouse of their world, and their innate skills and blood veins were all top-notch existences. Those who were able to succeed in transcending the tribulation were all chosen out of 10 million. But the words of the guards on both sides of the corridor were completely worthless. It really wasn't even dog shit. At least, no one would be able to step on dog shit. Just trash, muggle, ant, and cannon fodder. Hurry up. You bunch of trash. One of the guards shouted. Before he could finish his sentence, the whip at his waist moved. Pa. The whip lashed out. In the middle of the team. The eyes of one of the strong men darkened. He rushed out and grabbed the whip that was coming down. He exerted a lot of force in his arm and shouted, "Don't go overboard." They were all once the peak powerhouses. They were all very arrogant. When did someone say trash? Trash. None of them had dared to say such things to them. The corner of the guard's mouth twitched, and he laughed coldly, excessively. Do you think this is too much? All of you think too highly of yourselves. However, since you've gone too far, I'll let you know what it means by going too far. The aura of the guard slightly fluctuated. In that instant, an electric current was released from his right hand. Almost in an instant, that electric current immediately struck the muscular man's body. Bam! The brawny man's entire arm exploded. Ah! The brawny man screamed in pain as he was pushed back. His face was extremely pale. It was just a strand of power. So much so that he simply had no way to defend against even a single strand of the idea's power. How big was the difference in strength? It was hard to imagine. The crowd trembled slightly, all of them were silent, no one dared to make a sound, and even more so, they didn't dare to look into the eyes of those guards. Just as the guards had said, they were nothing here. They were just a bunch of useless trash. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The guards began to laugh loudly, laughing in a very complacent manner. Are you going too far? The sturdy man quickly got up and kneeled down. He kowtowed and begged for mercy. No, 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 no. Please spare my life, my lord. Please spare my life, my lord. The guard said, you are a piece of trash yourself, but now you have become a cripple. What use do you think the universal realm would want a cripple like you for? Drag him out and hand him over to Lord Shi-Fa. Yes, sir. With that, two black-robed men suddenly walked out of the unholy long corridor, holding a curved sickle in their hands. Without waiting for the sturdy man to react, the sickle moved. Crack, crack. The two of them directly stabbed into his chest and dragged him away, not even sparing a glance at the strong man. No, no. Lord, spare me. I beg you, spare me. I spent more than 300 years chasing after the peak of martial arts. I finally succeeded in transcending the tribulation, and I didn't even manage to enter the universal realm. I can't just die like this. I'm begging you, I'm begging you. Buzz. He was dragged straight into the void. The voice vanished as well. After a few seconds, everything returned to normal, as if nothing had happened. However, Those people walking in the corridor did not dare to show any signs of unrest. He didn't dare to be slow either. These guards were in control of their lives, Lord Shi-Fa. That person is dead for sure. Who is the Lord Shi-Fa? You haven't even heard of Universal Realms, Lord Shi-Fa? You've heard of it? Of course I have. My cousin sent a message to me, telling me to be careful in the first stage of the primordial trial. By all means, do not provoke the Lord Shi-Fa. Who is he? He is an evil spirit pill refiner, someone who specializes in refining pills, and he guards the first stage of grand mist cultivation. F***CK. Use people for alchemy. Using a person's profound chi, blood vein, talent, and even a person's life force, he can refine all kinds of powerful medicinal pellets, increasing lifespan, increasing profound chi, and blood vein, and can also increase your talent. He is a powerful alchemy master. Stop. We're almost there. Amongst the crowd, Long Fei was a little weak, and slowly walked forward like a sick person. Although the slovenly old man had used the divine light of extradition to enter the netherworld, the wounds on his body were still there and had not recovered. At this moment, he kept looking around, hoping to find the leopard girl in the crowd. However, there were too many people in the corridor, just like the ghosts in the underworld. Long Fei was also extremely shocked in his heart. I never thought that so many people would be able to successfully pass through the tribulation at the same time. Crossing tribulation was a narrow escape from death. Moreover, ordinary people would not dare to do so. But even so, there was still such a large number of them. It could be seen how huge the number of planes below the universal realm was. It could also be seen that a practitioner's pursuit for the peak of martial Tao would never stop. Are you okay? An old man behind Long Fei asked as he looked at Long Fei's blooded body. Long Fei shook his head. It's fine, I won't die. The old man asked, what level of heavenly tribulation did you go through to make you into such a state? Do you not have time to change out of your clothes? Long Fei replied, I don't know what rank either. The old man warned carefully, no matter how painful it is, you have to endure it. Don't let anyone find out that you are weak, especially the guards, who have to pretend to be strong when you walk in front of them, otherwise, they will sell you to the Lord Shi-Fa like the sturdy man just now. Long Fei said gratefully, thank you. No need to thank me. The old man laughed, my name is Qi Zhenliang. After a while, I will be able to step into the universal realm, and I will be able to return to being young like you. Long Fei looked at the place in front of him that looked like a teleportation portal. Long Fei was secretly excited in his heart. They were finally here. They were finally going to enter the universal realm. Half an hour later, Long Fei walked to the front of the teleportation formation and wanted to step in. At this moment, a guard said coldly, wait. Chapter 2717, Universal Realms First Small Boss. Chapter 2717, Universal Realms First Small Boss. Wait. The guard's eyes turned cold. Long Fei stopped and asked, what's the matter? The guard coldly replied, pass. Long Fei was startled. Pass? What pass? I really don't know. And he doesn't have a pass. The guard reminded her, it is your pass after your tribulation. Qi Zhenliang, who was standing behind Long Fei, reminded her in a low voice, it's the mark that appeared on your body after you completed your tribulation. It's usually on your chest. That's your pass. Long Fei frowned. He didn't. There was no mark on his chest. Not only that, there was also the mark of the god's tribe's curse. Black and white had hidden the curse marks on their faces, foreheads, hands, but the mark under the clothes, especially on the chest, was very obvious. All of them were gathered at his chest. If he opened up his clothes, the god's tribe curse mark would instantly appear. At this moment, when he was just a step away from Universal Realm, Long Fei absolutely could not let anyone see the curse mark on his body. Absolutely not. Long Fei shook his head. I did not. No. The guard was slightly startled. Following that, he looked at the mirror in his hand, which shone on Long Fei's body. Buzz. A halo of light coiled around them. The guard smirked. 36 ants, heavenly tribulation. The lowest level of heavenly tribulation, Moreover, it was in place of someone else that you were extradited by the divine light and sent here. No wonder you didn't have a pass with you. Qi Zhenliang was slightly shocked, looked at Long Fei and asked, "You didn't undergo your tribulation?" "Ha ha ha. So it's a mouse. Damn, there are people like that. Brat, you're really something." The 36 heavenly tribulations were originally trash heavenly tribulations, but you were sent here by someone else? How much of trash do you think you are? No wonder he has nothing. Many people began to mock him. Long Fei asked, "You are not allowed to enter the universal realm without a pass?" The guard's eyes turned sinister and he sneered, "You can, but you used another method to get in." At this moment, Long Fei could see the coldness in the guard's eyes. In an instant, Long Fei looked at the teleportation formation that was not far from him. The guard was not flustered at all. He coldly smiled and said, "Trash, where do you think we are? Didn't Western masters want to refine plague pill? This kid just happens to be a good choice." Before he could finish, the two black-robed slaves appeared once again in the nether realm. The instant Long Fei was about to rush into the teleportation formation, the two curved hooks moved slightly. Crack, crack. He directly hooked onto the collarbone on Long Fei's shoulder, then fiercely pulled. Bam! Long Fei fell to the ground. The two black-robed slaves didn't even look back as they dragged Long Fei into the nether realm. Long Fei resisted with all his might. However, it was completely useless. His strength was not his opponent at all. "Black and white, bring your strength." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish, Black and White said straightforwardly, "Unless it's absolutely necessary, I will never let you activate the black and white power again." Absolutely not. He almost died fighting the 100 outer space powerhouse. The reason why Long Fei was so weak right now was because of the backlash from the black and white power. Long Fei's body was simply too weak. The guard looked at Long Fei coldly and said, "Trash." Then, he looked at Qi Zhenliang and said, "Next, pass." Qi Zhenliang looked at Long Fei. The guard immediately said, "What's the matter? You want to be like him?" Qi Zhenliang's body trembled slightly, revealing the mark on his chest. The guard coldly replied, "Go on." And then there was Long Fei. His body was dragged into the abyssal space. His collarbone was fractured, and he was in incomparable pain. However, he wasn't thinking about himself now, but about the leopard girl. Would the leopard girl be like him? However, what Long Fei did not know was that the leopard girl had flown up its place. The imprint on her body was the 9 Sky Force, and several powerhouse had welcomed her when she had just flown into the long corridor of the netherworld. Talent was important everywhere. It was the same even in this corridor. It was just that. In this place, replacing the inherent skill was the heavenly tribulation level, while the 9 Skyforce was a high-level heavenly tribulation. The leopard girl had brought Long Fei's heavenly tribulation imprint in here. The baptism of heavenly tribulation that she had received was extremely strong, and could be said to allow her to experience a qualitative leap. Bam! Long Fei's body fell forward, heavily falling onto the ground. The two slaves said, "Master, another one has come." There was no sound in the dark room. The black slave also slowly retreated into the darkness. In this dark room, it was filled with the stench of rotting flesh. Long Fei took a deep breath and his stomach started to churn. Head could be seen everywhere. Human bones. There were also the internal organs of the human body contained in glass containers, as well as some special bottles containing all sorts of strange things. Other than that, there was even a trace of the strange smell of the spirit grass. It was not the smell of medicine but a strange smell, as if these spirit grass were bred using some kind of evil power, as if these spirit grass mixed with some special power to produce a strange smell. It stinks. Ah! 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 Suddenly, from the depths of the darkness came waves of agonized screams. Buzz. The pill furnace hummed. Hee hee. TSK TSK. Success, another 100-years-old life essence, ha ha ha. A burst of strange laughter was incomparably sinister. After listening for a few minutes, a scrawny man walked out of the darkness with a slight tremble, as if his entire body had been sucked dry. In an instant, He looked like he had aged a few hundred years. Look at his broken arm. Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Isn't this the guy who just lost an arm? Damn it, I suddenly became a dried-up corpse. In less than half the novel, a brawny man had turned into a broken bone. His hair was disheveled and yellow in color. He looked like a dried corpse. Long Fei's mind trembled. At this time, a strange, sinister old man walked out from the darkness. Looking at the pellet in his hand, he said excitedly, "The quality of this life essence is not bad." And then, he saw Long Fei. The old man smirked and said, "Looking at your sickly appearance, you are the most suitable to refine plague pill. Coincidentally, the Eastern Emperor of Western regions needs you. Kid, follow me. Don't worry, it'll hurt a bit. He won't die." Long Fei's gaze tensed up. He slowly stood up from the ground. The broken arm man shook his head, signaling to Long Fei not to go. But Long Fei did not hesitate. He had to go. He had to go. Because, if he could kill him, he would be able to level up. One must know that Long Fei still had 10 billion experience points in his experience bar. Chapter 27:18 Who's Afraid of the Alchemy? Chapter 27:18 Who's Afraid of the Alchemy? Hundreds of outer space powerhouse. One person had 100 million experience. 10 billion experience points leaked out of Long Fei's current experience slot. Because of the restrictions of the dimensional realm, he was no longer able to break through. However, as long as he could squash a mosquito and kill an ant, Long Fei would be able to level up and release 10 billion experience points. But there were no mosquitoes or ants in this dark room. There was only one alchemy monster. This alchemy monster was a little boss whose body was glowing with a golden light. If he could kill it, then nothing would be a problem. Long Fei stood up and walked over. The man kept shaking his head. He knew what was inside when he came out. If Long Fei went in, he would die. Seeing Long Fei walk forward, the wretched old man's eyes flashed with a bright light. He laughed sinisterly. "Now that's more obedient, the more comfortable it is. Don't worry, it will end soon." The old leader led Long Fei into the darkness. Long Fei looked at the old man's back, and didn't know why, but he saw that bloody wound on the top of his head. Long Fei kept feeling that there was a pair of eyes staring straight at him from the old man's back. Moreover, Long Fei could not find an opportunity to attack. Just as he was about to enter the pill house, Long Fei knew that if he did not act soon, he would not have the chance. "I'm going all out." The idea moved. Long Fei clenched his right hand tightly, supreme dragon knife energy, boom. In that instant, Long Fei used all his strength and chopped heavily at the old man's head. One slash split the old man's body into two. One slash in 1 second. Long Fei's pupils suddenly shrank rapidly. The old man disappeared. At this moment, a layer of cold sweat seeped out of Long Fei's back. "Then I'll let you suffer enough." Without waiting for Long Fei's response, the old man kicked Long Fei's body. Long Fei staggered and rushed forward. And at this moment, buzz, a vault door fell down. Rumble. The flames soared to the sky, and the place where Long Fei was at instantly combusted. It was exceptionally pressing and scorching, causing Long Fei's mind to abruptly shake as well. Pill furnace. This is a pill furnace. Hualala. 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 As the flames continued to rise, the old man's sinister voice sounded. "You're right, this is the pill furnace, and you know alchemy? That's great. Understood alchemy, refined into a medicinal pellet, hehe. Hualala. Hualala." The flame roared even more. This was a huge pill furnace, at least 2 stories high. This was the first time Long Fei saw such a large cauldron. Since it's a pill furnace, there must be an exit, or perhaps a place with a lid. Long Fei looked at the lid on his head and pushed it open. Boom. Without waiting for him to jump up, a powerful force came crashing down from the furnace. They didn't even give him a chance to react. Bam! It smashed straight into the ground. Long Fei said as blood trickled down the corner of his mouth. "Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Brat, do you think that anyone can break through my pill furnace? This is the universal realm, It is your honor to have a muggle from a lower plane like yours refined into a pill, understand? The old man smiled proudly and immediately used up all his strength in the pill furnace. Hualala. The flames immediately engulfed Long Fei. Hiss. Long Fei's body was completely red. This won't do. If this goes on, I really will be burned to death. I must think of a way to get out. Old man, don't let me out, or I'll definitely let you have a taste of what it is like to be inside it. Long Fei said fiercely. He was waiting. If he was used as a primer, he would definitely be thrown into another spirit grass. As long as the lid was opened, everything in the furnace would stop moving. The old man laughed. I can assure you that you won't be able to come out, ha ha ha. Long Fei sat cross-legged. His entire body was scarlet red. Originally, his scales had been stripped bare and he was in unbearable pain. But now, being burned in the flames was an extremely difficult test for his body to bear. Then again, he was brought here without a transmission array. This way, his heavenly tribulation baptism wouldn't be able to take place, and his body wouldn't be able to change. The road of cultivation in the future would be even more difficult. Long Fei clenched his teeth and held his breath. Hold on for dear life. Time passed by second by second. 10 minutes later. The old man saw that there was no response from the furnace, so he smiled coldly and said, "It should have been refined by now, right?" He opened the cover of the demonic ghost grass in his hand. At this moment, Long Fei's eyes suddenly opened, using all of his strength to rush towards the lid. I will kill you when I go out. The old man was slightly startled. Ouch. I didn't expect you to be so resistant to heat. He actually didn't die. Good, good, good. It seems like with your inherent skill, your blood vein are pretty good. This way, you'll be able to refine even more powerful plague pill. Boom. Just as Long Fei was about to rush out, the old man flipped his right hand and a huge amount of energy came crushing down. Buzz. Long Fei was flung back. At the same time, the evil spirit demonic grass quickly turned into a pill furnace. The old man laughed. Boy, enjoy yourself. Enjoy yourself slowly under the plague. Hualala. The moment the demonic ghost grass was thrown into the pill furnace, the spirit liquid instantly exploded. This was completely different from the alchemy technique that Long Fei had come into contact with before. In an instant, the pill furnace turned into a vast ocean. The fire on the pill furnace raged. Suddenly, the two heavens of fire and ice felt even more torturous on Long Fei's body. What should I do? What should I do? Long Fei's mind was in a frenzy. At the same time, the plague poison hidden within the evil spirit demonic grass continued to invade Long Fei's mind. It slowly seeped out of his wound. Pain. Suddenly, Long Fei's eyes flashed as his heart sank. The alchemy, right? F***CK. Who's afraid of the alchemy? Then refine it. Alchemy? Long Fei had never lost. Although the alchemy technique had been absorbed, Long Fei was not unfamiliar with controlling the ancient alchemy technique. The idea moved. Heaven and earth as a furnace. Boom. The moment Long Fei's idea appeared, the entire pill furnace started to rumble. Ignite with fire. Boom. A human body. Use your body as a guide. Come. Long Fei crazily controlled his mind, and at this moment, an unprecedented level of calm appeared in his sea of consciousness. At the same time, Long Fei suddenly thought of something. Sun Wukong had refined a set of fiery eyes of truth from old Lord Taishang's pill furnace. The old man couldn't compare to old Lord Taishang. Since he couldn't refine the fiery eyes of truth, then he should be able to refine something else, right? Body as pill. Let me handle it. Long Fei did not know what he could refine, how he would feel comfortable about it. In short, he had to preserve his life. The pill furnace was in a frenzy. Boom. A loud sound echoed out. The system suddenly sounded out. Ding. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2719, Refining Your Pill. Chapter 2719, Refining Your Pill. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully refining it. It was just a notification. He didn't mention that he had managed to refine any medicinal pellets, nor did he increase his alchemy. This made Long Fei a little depressed. The forging is a success. What kind of pill did you forge? Just when Long Fei wanted to look at the attribute of the medicinal pellet, he suddenly realized. He had turned himself into a pill. He had refined himself into a spiritual pill. Monkey Sun had refined a pair of fiery eyes of truth in the pill furnace that was too low for old Lord Gu. It was one thing that he did not manage to refine a pair of fiery eyes of truth, but now he refined a single pill? This. Long Fei was dumbstruck. I became a pill? I became a pill? Mother f*** became a pill? He was speechless. Long Fei was so shocked that he looked like an idiot as he stood there motionlessly, completely at a loss of what to do. Could this be the ultimate profound mystery of the ancient alchemy technique? Refining a alchemy master into a medicinal pellet? Are you King messing with me? Long Fei complained fiercely. That's not right. No, that's not right. Long Fei felt it for a moment, and then said, I can feel my body, my heartbeat, my mind, my consciousness, everything about me. In principle, I should be a talented person. Then Long Fei was a little confused. He could feel everything, but he was now just a pill. Did I learn the art of transformation? It had to be known that it was very normal to change techniques in the mythical world. Sun Ishio could transform into a mosquito, fly, or even a completely different person. It was normal for Long Fei to turn into a medicinal pellet. Is it really a transformation technique? Long Fei moved, opening up the system to check. There were no system notifications. The skill bar in the system was empty, not a single thing. He didn't acquire the transformation skill. Long Fei was startled. That's strange. Then why was I able to turn myself into a pill? The black and white said faintly, it's very simple because the alchemy technique you cultivate is different from the others. Then, it's your body, your blood essence, and anything within your body is a divine ranked sovereign level spirit grass. It's also normal for you to refine your own body into a medicinal pellet. The body refinement pellet is an extremely high level of cultivation. Black and white did not say it out loud. Back then, he did not even say it out loud. He was also a bit envious because if he refined his body into a pill, he would become the king of the pills. He had reached an unprecedented level in the Tao of alchemy, a life or death situation. He used his body to form a pill. At that time, Long Fei had forgotten about everything else. He only wanted to live, to not be corroded by the demonic spirit grass's venom, to not be burned to death by the flames, and only wanted to live. Who would have thought that by a stroke of luck, he would be able to form a pill with his body? Long Fei slightly said, very strong. Why didn't I feel it? Black and white said, everything has a process. Even if you use your body to form a pill, you still have a long way to go. Long Fei said, let's not talk about this for now. How can I recover my real face after what you have told me? Black and white paused for a moment before saying, about this. Everything is up to you. He had never cultivated such a realm before, how would he know? F***ck. Long Fei contemptuously said, so even you don't know. Monochrome did not speak. Long Fei kept on pondering, what exactly do I need to do? The idea moved, recover to real face. No response. The system also did not react. Long Fei tried again, but it was still the same. The idea could not be controlled. Moreover, this was not controlled by the system, it could only be controlled by oneself. This was a bit of a pain in the ass. TSK. A series of sinister sneers came from outside the pill furnace. Are there no movements? Did you refine it? He. The two slaves dragged a few more people into the room. Master, send 2 more over. Lord Tianfeng wants you to send the money over. Fa waved his right hand and a space ring appeared. He said, send it over, tell him that I'm very satisfied with today's goods. The excess grand mist crystals are for him. Understood, master. A black slave entered the darkness. Old man Fa said, activate shuttle, target western regions. A black slave said, understood, master. The black slaves were like robots, the Westlaw's orders were orders. With a slight tremble, the flying shuttle was activated. In half an hour, the plague pill will be refined. The Eastern Emperor of the Western regions has spent 10 million grand mist crystals. At that time, we'll be able to earn another fortune. Ha ha ha. I wonder who he wants to use the plague pill against. Who cares who he goes against? Who the fuck cares about me? There are so many people in the universal realm, it would be best if I just die a little more. That way, I can obtain an endless amount of materials. Hey. Sifa laughed grimly. Long Fei did not know what was happening outside. Similarly, no one knew what happened inside the pill furnace. However, Long Fei could feel all the light vibrations, as if they were floating in the air and were going to teleport out in an instant. After that, he didn't have much of a feeling. How can I change back? I won't keep being this pill in the future, right? What if someone eats it? Then will I turn into excrement? Thinking about that scene, Long Fei trembled. He kept trying to find a solution in the system as well as in his own body, but no matter how hard Long Fei tried, he just could not find a way. There was no way to recover the real face at all. Half an hour passed. TSK. Have I finished refining my plague pill? Sifa laughed excitedly. And then, the lid of the pill furnace slightly moved. At this moment, Long Fei's mind immediately tensed up, and thought to himself, maybe if I kill him, I can. Not waiting for him to finish. Just as the lid of the pill furnace was completely opened, a system notification rang out. Ding. System notification. Do you wish to recover real face? Holy **T. Long Fei almost cried, so you need to open the pill furnace in order to activate it. That's so scary a baby. If we can both use the same pill in the future, how can we continue to act cool? How can we continue to flirt with girls? Thank God for God's blessing. Since he could recover his real face, Long Fei calmed down. He wasn't in a hurry. Right now, Long Fei was not in a hurry at all. Because he was waiting for a perfect opportunity. A chance to kill him in one blow. Seeing that he was taken out from the pill furnace by the Western Elder, Long Fei laughed sinisterly in his heart. Chapter 2720 Small Boss. Chapter 2720 Small Boss. A first-rate product. His looks are first-rate. The medicinal effects. TSK. Could it be that my evil spirit alchemy technique has broken through again? This plague pill has simply reached the realm of a grade 7 profound core. Ha ha ha. Sifa was pleased with himself. He had never refined such a good pill. He even thought that he had made a breakthrough. I'll definitely make a huge profit this time. Heh. Sifa could not help but be excited as he asked in a low voice, Black Slave, have you arrived? A voice rang out from another room. Master, immediately enter the primordial dimension. Hurry up. I can't wait. This plague pill would definitely cause a sensation in the East Imperial City. Hey. TSK. She held the pill in his hand and looked at it lovingly again and again. Every part of it was perfect, better than any pills he had ever made in the past. However, he did not care about Long Fei, the primer of the alchemy. He had already refined the pill, and there was probably not even bones left behind. The shriveled-up corpse let out a long sigh. Tell him not to go at all. Universal realm is really too dangerous. Those of us from the lower realms are like ants. If we want to survive in the universal realm, we need to find a strong backer. Otherwise, any warrior would kill us. The other men who had been caught huddled together, not daring to look directly at Sifa. They trembled. They knew in their hearts that their time of death wasn't far. Seeing their frightened look, Sifa laughed proudly and said, Don't be afraid, I'm very happy today. You guys can live for a few more days, after I sell this plague pill and buy some high-grade materials, and then refine you guys, you should thank this person. If not for him, you would all be dead by now. Ha ha ha. Sifa became increasingly happy as he looked at the pills in his hand. He couldn't help but be excited as he thought of the piles of grand mist crystals piled up in front of him. I'm rich. I've struck it rich. He was overjoyed. There was no defense at all. At this moment, Long Fei moved slightly, recover to real face. Boom. In that instant. What's going on? Shifa suddenly felt the weight of the pill on his palm increase dramatically. His eyes were filled with curiosity. What's going on? Without waiting for him to react, he shouted, boom. Long Fei recovered his real face. He was standing right in the hands of Silver. Suddenly, old man Shifa was so scared that his eyes turned blank. He couldn't react at all, he just couldn't understand how a pill could suddenly turn into a human. He was stupefied. The surrounding people were all dumbfounded. It was hard to imagine. Long Fei moved, the energy that had been brewing in his hand suddenly slashed, and he roared out, "Refine this, Daddy. I will take your life." The Supreme Dragon Knife's energy suddenly exploded. He smashed down viciously from above on top of Western Fa's head. Too sudden. Old man Shi-Fa was still in a state of shock and he basically didn't have time to react. Furthermore, Long Fei's speed was extremely fast. Boom. Silver's body sank. Blood spurted out from the top of his head, his body fell onto the ground from the impact, his eyes sinister as he stared straight at Long Fei, and said fiercely, You are actually still alive? Hiding in the midst of pills?" Long Fei smiled slightly. "You didn't think of it, right? Refine father. Don't you know who your father is?" While he was speaking, Long Fei did not idle around. Taking advantage of his severe injuries was to take advantage of his illness and not give Shi-Fa any chance to stand up. Long Fei took a step forward and sat down on his butt. Boom. Clenching his fists tightly and without any warning, he started bombarding the wound on Sifa's head. Bang, bang, bang. There was no cultivation technique. No energy. Right now, Long Fei was only relying on the tiniest bit of strength on his body. He did not dare to relax, because the moment he relaxed even the slightest bit, he could be killed by Shimon Wandai. Moreover, this shuttle also had a black slave in it. If he came out, even Long Fei wouldn't be able to stop him. His body was currently very weak. Even if he had the power of 3 ancient inheritances on him, he basically did not have the energy to release them. The 2 inheritances of the underworld fire and the decaying power only had skin and skin. The lower planes could kill everything in an instant, but the fur of the 2 ancient inheritances were completely useless in the universal realm. Long Fei had felt it when he was dealing with the outer space powerhouse. Universal realm was the first place under ancient world. The powerhouse of this world was different from the powerhouse of other planes. Bam, bam, bam. Long Fei used all of his strength and bombarded crazily. The people around were all dumbfounded. She looked at Long Fei in a daze. Long Fei shouted, "Why are you in a daze? Why aren't you coming over to help?" The 2 men who came from behind immediately shrunk, like a turtle with its head in, not daring to move forward. The one-armed corpse man hesitated for a few seconds and then shouted, "What's there to be afraid of? Your father's lifespan has been sucked dry. Since I can't escape death anyway, I'll earn it by beating him up before I die." A flying star pounced on him. A one-handed attack. He didn't know why. The arm that was destroyed by the corpse man smashed at old man Shi-Fa's chrysanthemum, which was then pulled out, making a loud popping sound. It was as if the chrysanthemum was being pushed into a toilet bowl. "I'll let you break my chrysanthemum. I'll let you suck my lifespan. Mother ***, old man Shi-Fa wailed. Seeing the arm that had been cut off, and seeing the corpse man's madness, Long Fei shivered and said, "Brother, your hobbies are really special her." "That's what he did to me," the mummified man with the severed arm said. Long Fei lightly glanced at the spot where the broken arm corpse's butt was, and as expected, there was blood, as he said, "Then his hobbies are also very special." The 2 of them, one in front and one behind, bombarded the West Fa Ma. With the addition of the arm that had been cut off by the dried corpse, the blood on the top of the West Fa Li's head was quickly drained. It could not hold on for much longer. Moreover, he was just a alchemy master. Other than the power of powder, he did not have much value in terms of physical strength. After getting heavily hit by Long Fei once, he was already stupefied. Furthermore, Long Fei did not give him any chance to get up, and could only force him to stay on the ground and receive a beating. A few minutes later, Long Fei looked at the last bit of HP on his head. Long Fei smirked. Refining your father? Blast it for me. It was also at this time. The black slave replied, Master, enter the universal realm. Boom. Long Fei punched down. Old man Xie let out a blood-curdling scream. Zhong Xian rolled his eyes. His hair was sticking up. Huff. Long Fei practically paralyzed as he let out a long breath and fell to the side. He was secretly excited in his heart. It exploded, right? It's about to level up, right? Come on, little boss, kill them for me. Upgrade. 10 billion experience points was about to explode. Long Fei's heart quieted down as he confidently listened. The system rang out with an incomparably wonderful prompt. Ding. Chapter 2721 System Update. Chapter 2721 System Update. Hearing the beautiful system beep, Long Fei's heart relaxed. No matter what. As long as the system beep rang, he could be considered to have killed the monster, otherwise his work would have been in vain. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing evil spirit alchemy technique Western techniques for obtaining 1800 experience, 100 true spiritual value, 1 universal value. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining evil spirit alchemy technique. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining life essence number 1. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining innate true pill number 1. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for entering Universal Realm. Ding. System notification. Player has entered Universal Realm. System update. Time to update, 2 hours. Ding. System notification. Players are unable to use all the functions of the system while the system is being updated. Ding. System update start. A series of notifications. Looked at the system beep, looked at the experience and things that the old man Xie had obtained, and his expression trembled slightly. True spiritual value? This should be the universal realm's blue, right? What is universal value? System update. What did you update this time? I'm really looking forward to it. Long Fei looked at the progress bar that appeared in his mind, and exhaled lightly. I'm really not used to not being able to use the system for 2 hours. Every time you enter a plane system, it will be updated. There will be many different things. Right now, Long Fei was worried that the system would update whatever it had. For example, his 100 charm value points. If the update was erased, then he would be in big trouble. At the very least, charm value at full strength could be extremely useful sometimes, such as seduction. Young woman. The young girl or something. And then again. Would Long Fei's own ancient inheritance power be updated? Would it become systematic? How does a underworld fire cultivate? How do I cultivate decaying power? If it were just 2 sets of cultivation techniques, then cultivating it would be a problem for Long Fei in proficiency, and it would be much easier. But if that wasn't the case, then Long Fei must think of a way to cultivate them, and must not let these 2 powerful ancient inheritance powers be wasted just like that. Master System, please evolve and produce more things. It would be best for you to unravel the memories of my seal. Otherwise, I need you to give me even more power. Amitabha. Long Fei prayed in his heart. At this time, the desiccated corpse man with a severed arm was dead in front of the old man Xie, yet his entire body was stiff before he died. Long Fei said, all right, both of you are dead. Even if I die, I will blow up his chrysanthemum. Just as I entered the Universal Realm, before I could even touch the hands of the Universal Realm's girls, I was brought to this damned place and took 100 years of my lifespan. If it wasn't for my life, I would have died already. If I don't vent my anger properly, I won't stop. 100 years of longevity. A whole 100 years. How many 100 years does life have? As he spoke, he felt like crying. I can't even win a girl from Universal Realm before I die. The girl I want to woo is my dream. Before even getting a chance to soak in the water, my chrysanthemum was first destroyed. I won't believe it if I don't break him. Look at how handsome I used to be. Tall and strong. What does it look like now? It's like I'm a desiccated corpse that doesn't let a woman suck up all of it. How do you make those girls look at me? Long Fei took out the life essence that had just exploded out, threw it onto the body of the dried corpse, and said, "This should be a pill that was refined using your life force." He looked at the life essence in his hand, then looked at Long Fei, and said with a bit of shock, This is 100 years of longevity." Long Fei replied, "I know." The mummified man with the severed arm said, "Are you just going to give it to me like this?" Long Fei said, "What's wrong? You don't want it. If you don't want it, then bring it back." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, the desiccated corpse man immediately swallowed the pill and laughed. Yes, of course I want it. Life essences were incomparably important to the people who had just entered the universal realm. Warriors who successfully passed the heavenly tribulation and entered the universal realm did not have a big breakthrough. At most they only had a lifespan of 100 years. Having his lifespan extracted from 100 years, his lifespan was already insufficient. It won't be long before I die of old age. As for others, this 100-year life essence could increase their lifespan by 100 years. Time was everything to them. As long as they had time, they could change their fates. But Long Fei gave it to him without even batting an eye. Even with his longevity, the one-armed, dried corpse felt extremely grateful in his heart. The life essence swallowed it. His body was suffused with a layer of red. His complexion had improved, and his hair had turned dark. It was just that. His body hadn't recovered its height yet, but he still looked like a shriveled, mummified corpse. However, he could feel the strong longevity. The mummified man with the severed arm stood up and said, "Thank you. From today onwards, you will be my boss. If you let me go west, I will absolutely not go east. Unless there is a peerless beauty to the east. Boss, my name is Tan Dapao." Long Fei laughed. He needed someone to protect him at the moment too. The system was still updating. There were still a few other people in the shuttle and a black slave. Black slaves alone were enough to kill all of them. Moreover, just now, Tan Dapao had pounced on him. Otherwise, if he wanted to kill Shi Fa easily, he would need some time. Long Fei said, "My name is Long Fei." Tan Dapao immediately asked, "Brother Fei, how did you do that?" "He's actually hiding in the midst of a medicinal pill." Long Fei replied, "I was just lucky." Since Long Fei did not say anything, Tan Dapao did not question him further. However, to him, Long Fei was very powerful. Furthermore, Long Fei had helped him take revenge and even took back his lifespan. Just these 2 points alone were enough to make Tan Dapao admire him. At this time, Tan Dapao looked at the two people not too far away and disdainfully said, "Call me Brother Fei." The two of them immediately called out, "Brother Fei, Brother Fei." Tan Dapao said fiercely, "Useless bastards, if it wasn't for Brother Fei, all of you would have been turned into pills." Yes. "Thank you, Brother Fei. Thank you, Brother Fei." The two of them quickly spoke up. Tan Dapao snorted disdainfully, then looked at Sifa's corpse on the ground and said, "Brother Fei, what do we do with this guy's corpse? I also heard this time that he is going to some western regions to hand over his mission. Now that he is dead, what should we do?" This was indeed a problem. It was easy to deal with the corpses, but what if he reached the western regions? Just as Long Fei was thinking about this, a pair of dark, cold eyes stared at him from within the darkness. Long Fei's expression tightened, and said faintly, "Come out." The black slave slowly walked out of the darkness, holding the long curved sickle in his hand. When the two saw the black slave, they immediately kneeled and said, "It was them who killed your master. It's them. It has nothing to do with us, it's them." Swoosh swoosh. The two sickles slashed down. The two of them were like weak chickens, their heads were cut off in a flash. The black slave stared at Long Fei with sinister eyes, his gaze was incomparably cold. Chapter 27-22 Western Regions. Chapter 27-22 Western Regions. All the people here were captured by the black slaves. It could be said. Moreover, two of them had even instantly their throats cut off. And Long Fei were the only ones left behind. The black slave's gloomy eyes carried a cold glint as he stared straight at Long Fei. Tan Dapao lowered her voice and said, "Wait for him to come up, I'll hold him back. You think of a way to make a move." Long Fei stood where he was and looked at the black slave. The two of them looked at each other for 3 minutes. In these 3 minutes, Long Fei's palms broke out in a cold sweat. Because the system was still updating, he still had not reached the level. Even if he obtained the experience from killing the Western FA, he should have leveled up, but because the system had upgraded, he did not. He was still level 0. Moreover, he had experienced the black slave's methods. Not wasting any time with you, just kill him. 3 minutes was a type of torment, but there wasn't even the slightest bit of fear in Long Fei's eyes. Instead, he was abnormally calm. "You killed him?" the black slave coldly asked as he glanced at the corpse of Sifa. Long Fei replied, "Yes." The black slave's eyes became even more sinister, as if she wanted to see through Long Fei. Then, he stared at Long Fei for a few minutes. Tan Dapao couldn't take it anymore, his mind was about to explode. He immediately shouted out, "If you want to kill me, go ahead, stop wasting my breath." After he finished speaking, the black slave silently turned around and once again walked into the darkness. He didn't say anything. It was a little sudden, but in the end the sinister coldness in his eyes disappeared. Huff! When Tan Dapao saw the black slave disappear into the darkness, he let out a long breath and fell flat on his butt. His entire body was drenched in sweat as he said fiercely, "This is too unbearable. Universal Realm is truly worthy of being called a universal realm. A slave has such a powerful aura, I was almost crushed by him. We really didn't come here." Huff! 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 Tan Dapao panted heavily, and said with a grin, "Why did he leave in the end? Do you know we can't escape? Wait to kill us?" Long Fei's heart relaxed, and he shook his head, "I don't know." He opened up the system and checked. The system update was still more than an hour away. Zhong Xian panicked. "System Grandpa, hurry up too. Sooner or later, your father will die in your hands." Long Fei grumbled in his heart, the system update was so, why did he have to take back the function of the system? As a result, his body had been upgraded and yet to recover. This point was truly fatal. Tan Dapao said, "I hope they don't appear again. I really can't take it anymore." Long Fei said indifferently, "If we didn't make a move just now, we probably wouldn't have made a move." In other words, he would not make a move on Long Fei and the others anymore. Moreover, it could be seen that the black slave hated the West FA very much. He was as black as a man from a coal mine. This wasn't what they looked like in the sky, it was definitely because of the alchemy or the drugs that they were given, causing their skin to change in such a way. If Long Fei did not guess wrong, the black slave had a deep grudge against Western law. That's good. That's good. As long as we don't do anything, it's fine. It's not easy to pass through the tribulation and enter the universal realm. Otherwise, before the universal realm can enter, he'll die. This is too tragic. Tan Dapao leaned on one side and looked at his missing arm, and his brows slightly tightened. They really lost an arm before they even entered the universal realm. If his arm was missing life, then it was still there. If his life was still there, then everything was still possible. Long Fei said, "Let's take a break, we should be arriving soon." Tan Dapao immediately closed his eyes and rested, then muttered, "Wait until I, Tan Dapao, find the energy crystal, then let's see who the F*** king dares to touch this daddy here." Long Fei also slightly closed his eyes. System update, 39%. I still want a lot of time. I wonder what will happen after this update. The system update was just like the game update. There would definitely be big changes. A change you can't foresee. All of this was controlled by the game's settings. Long Fei had also thought about who designed the system in his mind. Those alien creatures? Or were they the powerhouses of the Great Emperor in the Void? This game system is too advanced. One day I'll find out. I don't like being controlled. Long Fei secretly clenched his fists, his mind recovered from the progress of the system update. Looking at the dark sky, he said secretly, "I wonder how is the leopard girl? If the leopard girl can decipher my memories of the seal, then wouldn't finding someone I know in the past mean that she will be able to decipher the seal? And my father? Is that person being held by my father in Dragon Abyss Dungeon? And mother? Dragon Clan. God's tribe. All of you, just you wait. Thinking about Long Fei, he also couldn't help but slowly fall asleep. Too tired. From the magic tribe's territory to the divine capital, then from the divine capital's escape, to here, Long Fei had not slept for even an hour. Now that he had entered the universal realm, his body could no longer take it and he fell asleep in a few minutes. After an unknown period of time. Boss, wake up. We're here. We're here. Tan De Pao gently pushed Long Fei a few times. Long Fei's eyelids were heavy, he slowly opened them, and discovered that the light outside was dazzling, and his entire body instantly bounced up from the ground. Where are we? Tan De Pao said excitedly. We're at Universal Realm. We're finally here. Ha ha ha. Tan De Pao pointed to a huge city not far away, and said, quickly look, that should be the western regions that old Western FA monster is talking about. Long Fei looked over, and his expression tightened. It was simply not a city at all. It was a mountain range that stretched endlessly. The city walls towered above the clouds. This city. Too powerful. Long Fei had seen many big cities. Zhenwu Continent S and Kanglan Continent S were also considered big cities. They were all extremely majestic. But, compared to the East Imperial City in front of him, those cities seemed like little imps. The difference was too great. Long Fei was stunned. Tan De Pao said, this city is King big. If I were to use my feet to walk, I probably won't be able to go around once in 10 years, right? This is the universal realm. Ha ha ha. Too domineering. Long Fei was also secretly excited. We have finally arrived. We have finally arrived at Universal Realm. How long have I been asleep? Tan De Pao replied, I don't know, I just woke up a while ago. And then? Long Fei quickly opened up the system to check. System update, 98%. I'm just 2% away from completing the update. System, what kind of changes can you bring about? At this moment, the flying shuttle began to slow down. They flew towards a huge piece of flat ground inside the East Imperial City. It was also at this time. The black slave walked out, looked at Long Fei, and coldly said, you killed Western FA, so if you can't hand over the plague pill, you will die very quickly. Chapter 27-23, He is the Great Master of the West. Chapter 27-23, He is the Great Master of the West. After the black slave finished speaking, he disappeared into the darkness. He was standing in the dark and you couldn't see him as long as he didn't speak. Tan De Pao was also shocked, and said, I heard from old man Shi Fa that he came to Western regions to hand in his mission, and that he handed over his plague pill. What do we do now? Long Fei secretly frowned. What should he do? He didn't know. However, he could still be sure of his alchemy. Long Fei said, there's no rush, let's go down and take a look. There was only a little bit of time before the system would be updated. When that happened, everything would be fine. East Imperial City, Lan Mansion. Master, the flying shuttle of the evil spirit alchemy master Shi Fa is about to land. Sifa. The evil spirit alchemy master who promised to refine the plague pill for us? A middle-aged scholar with blue hair stood atop his head. A strand of blue hair. This is the beauty of Lan clan's blood vein. The middle-aged man's name is Lan Yuan. He was the current patriarch of the Lan Mansion. A ray of light flashed across Lan Yuan's eyes, and he said, immediately send people to receive him, do not be negligent. The guard immediately said, as you command. Although evil spirit alchemy masters were alchemy masters of the evil faction, none of them could be easily offended, especially this kind of evil sect alchemy master. The consequence of offending someone was that they might end up dying for no reason. Lan Mansion was a huge clan within the East Imperial City, so even then, they did not dare to easily offend an alchemy master. Visible. Alchemy masters had a very high status in the universal realm. The guard walked out and a woman walked out. Lan Mai. Her head of cool blue hair was different from a strand of Lan Yuan's. She had a head full of blue hair, which also meant that her Lan clan blood vein was incredibly pure. Lan Mai asked, Daddy, do you really want to use the plague pill? Lan Yuan was silent for a moment, then said slightly, "There is no other way. The Black Prison Valley's beasts are too strong, they are too concentrated, we can only try with the plague pill." Lan Mai said, "Daddy, the plague pill's killing potential is too great. Once they lose control, they can scatter and harm innocent people, and East Imperial City clearly forbids the use of this kind of evil spirit pellet." "Daddy, I'm fine. If I can't cultivate, then I won't. It's enough as long as I have father's protection," Lan Mai said stubbornly. It was because of this that an incomparably pure Lan clan blood vein had long hair. Her blood vein was too pure and strong, causing his meridians to be unable to withstand it. He had cultivated for 3 years and all the meridians in his body were blocked, unable to continue. She had also become a joke in the East Imperial City. He could not cultivate a pure blood vein, and also made the Lan clan become a joke. Lan clan blood veins were useless. As for Lan Yuan, as the patriarch, the pressure on him was incomparably huge. He was obviously a super genius, how could he become a trash? All these years, he had been searching for the antidote. Until half a year ago, when he found a type of spirit grass in an ancient book. As long as he could find this kind of spirit grass, he would be able to help Lan Mai clear his meridians. It was just that. The Black Prison Valley was one of the most dangerous places within the western regions, and was also known as the Mortal Forbidden Area. No one would be able to come out alive. Demon beasts ran rampant, demons and devils ran amok, and all kinds of powerful demon beast filled the entire valley. Ordinary people would not be able to enter, so Lan Yuan wanted to use the plague pill to poison everyone in the valley. Lan Yuan lightly patted his daughter's shoulder and said, "Don't worry, I will control it well. At that time, when your third uncle, fourth uncle and I go into the valley, we will definitely be able to bring that spirit grass back." Lan Mai said, "Besides Black Prison Valley's Black Prison Godgrass, isn't there another method? Can you use another method?" Indeed. Other than Black Prison Godgrass, there was another method. This method was relatively simple. To make use of a holy vein, and must be a blazing, majestic attributed blood vein, must be a male. The two of them combined the blood vein's power on Lan Mai's body, in order to clear the blocked meridians. This way was also fine. However, the holy vein in Universal Realm were too rare. Furthermore, due to the blazing heat, majestic attribute blood veins were even rarer among the holy vein. Hot, magnificent must be those super divine beast, illusory Kylin, golden peacock, god king tiger. These could only be considered normal super divine beasts. To the blocked meridian on Lan Mai's body, the best combination of blood vein was dragon blood. However, to East Imperial City of the East Imperial City, dragon bloodline blood vein was an impossible task. Actually, Lan Yuan also knew in his heart that there was a super divine beast in the East Imperial City, and that it met the standard of strength. He couldn't allow his daughter to be associated with a man who was like a tyrant. He would rather risk going to the Black Prison Valley than let that evil young master ruin his daughter. Moreover, he had tentatively asked Lan Mai before, and even if he were to die, Lan Mai would not agree. Lan Yuan smiled lightly. "The other method is more difficult. Don't worry, as long as you get the plague pill and third uncle, fourth uncle's strength should be enough. Daddy knows how hard you work, and how much you want to cultivate. Daddy will definitely let you step onto the path of martial arts again." Lan Yuan secretly clenched his fists. No matter what the price was, even if it was his own life, he would make his daughter cultivate anew. As a martial artist, not being able to cultivate was even worse than death. The mission was difficult. But, no matter what, he would try. He couldn't lift the Lan clan to a new height, but, as long as Lan Mai was able to clear her meridians, with her talent, she would definitely be able to let Lan clan step into the peak of perfection. Lan Mai's blood vein is the history of the Lan clan. The other most powerful person was the first patriarch. Long Fei and Tan De Pao walked down the flying shuttle. The black slave did not come down. Instead, he stood at the entrance of the flying shuttle and glanced at Long Fei. Long Fei looked at him and said, "Aren't you coming down?" The black slave glanced at the scorching sun outside, slightly shook his head, and then coldly said, "I wish you good luck." In that instant, bam! The shuttle door closed. Tan de Pao disdainfully said, "Damn." Long Fei looked at the vast plaza and thought to himself, "I didn't expect there to be an airport in this alternate world. How awesome." Tan de Pao was just like Grandma Liu who entered the large ornamental garden. She said excitedly, "The universal realm is just different, powerful indeed, powerful indeed." Without waiting for them to sigh. At this time, a dozen tight uniformed disciples and an old man walked over. They looked at Long Fei and asked, "Which one of you is Master Shi Fa?" Long Fei's gaze tensed up. Tan de Pao looked at Long Fei and carefully became on guard. The black slave was right, the West Fa was really here to hand in the mission. The situation didn't look good. Because these disciples all had a trace of killing intent on their faces. Long Fei's ability to sense killing intent was far beyond ordinary, and could clearly sense it. Long Fei's throat shook, and asked, "Who are you?" The old man looked at Long Fei, and said, "You don't need to care who we are, you only need to answer where Grandmaster Shi Fa is." Tan de Pao did not know where these people came from, but upon hearing the elder address him with such respect, he immediately replied, "He is Grandmaster Shi Fa. Why aren't you quickly bowing to Great Master Shi Fa when you see him?" The old man's lips curled up into a cold smile. Table of Contents. Table of Contents. Long Fei's heart trembled. F***K. A pig teammate. Tan de Pao did not sense any killing intent. Moreover, he also wanted to use his name to frighten the other party. However, when he saw the sneer on the old man's face, his heart sank as he thought, "Crap." The old man said, "Lord Shi Fa, follow us." It was also at this time. A dozen or so disciples instantly surrounded Long Fei. Tan de Pao yelled, "What are you guys trying to do? Who are you? To dare treat Master Western law like this? Do you believe that Master's evil pill will make you all go down to the underworld?" The dozen or so disciples instantly froze, their gazes all turned towards the old man. The old man's eyes secretly tightened as he spoke indifferently, "Grandmaster Shi Fa, we do not have any intention of harming you. However, it is best for you to cooperate. Otherwise, some unpleasant things will happen." The old man's eyes widened. Immediately, the dozen disciples took another step forward and narrowed the encirclement. The demonic pill masters were indeed terrifying, but this is the East Imperial City, and once a demonic pill refiner got close enough, he would have a hard time using it. Tan de Pao looked at Long Fei with anxiety. He did not know what Long Fei was thinking. Long Fei remained calm as he quickly analyzed the situation. These people must have never seen the old man Shi Fa before. Otherwise, they wouldn't have recognized the wrong person. And I can tell that these people are more or less afraid of the Western law, but it seems like the evil sect's alchemy masters are still something to be afraid of. But are these people Western people who want to hand in a mission? Let's take a gamble. Long Fei smiled faintly and said, "What is your goal? Is it also a plague pill?" As soon as he finished, the old man's gaze tensed up, and he muttered softly, "Lan Clan really wants the plague pill." The old man's eyes flashed, he looked at Long Fei and said, "Seems like Lord Shi Fa is very clear about why we're here. Not bad, our goal is indeed the plague pill." Long Fei said, "I am a very easygoing person. If you want the plague pill, double the price, I will give it to you immediately. After all, who in the world can be more expensive?" The elder's eyes narrowed. "I wonder how much is double the price?" Long Fei did not dare to say anything carelessly. After all, he did not even know what the price of a plague pill would be, so he just raised two of his fingers. The old man's gaze darkened. He was a bit shocked as he said, 20 million grand mist crystals." Tan de Pao's eyes suddenly opened wide. He was so shocked that he couldn't even speak as he looked at Long Fei in shock. 20 million. Long Fei still carried a very high and profound look, appearing very calm. There wasn't a single ripple in his eyes, and he gently smiled, saying, "Not bad, you know what's good." Long Fei thought in his heart, "Damn, if I don't have the money in the future, I can definitely make a fortune with my alchemy. A single pill can produce 20 million grand mist crystals. This is just too amazing." The old man looked at Long Fei. Long Fei was too calm. He had the appearance of an expert. Acting cool? No one was stronger than Long Fei. The elder slightly said, I must ask the clan leader for 20 million. What do you think about this? Why don't you follow me back to the manor and discuss it before deciding on a course of action? Long Fei said, there's no need to go to your residence. We'll wait on the flying shuttle. While they were talking, Long Fei said to Tan Dapao, all right, let's go back. As he spoke, he began to walk in the direction of the flying shuttle. The elder's eyes darkened as he said coldly, wait. Long Fei stopped and did not look back as he said, what's wrong? Is there a problem? The old man said, Master, I have come today to invite you to follow me back to the manor. Either you come with me, or you hand over the plague pill, if not. Tan Dapao was sweating profusely. Long Fei was still very calm, and said coldly, otherwise, what would happen? The old man said, otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. I know that the cultivation of your evil sect's alchemy masters is not very high, so don't be disrespectful, Lord Shi-Fa. As soon as he finished, a dozen guards drew their weapons. However, at this moment, they immediately retreated a few steps. Because, at this moment, Long Fei was holding a pitch-black medicinal pellet in his hand, and he said coldly, I never know what it means to be tactful. You're right, our alchemy technique is indeed not very good, but I'm not feeling well, no one should have any good thoughts. Do you want to try the taste of the plague pill? The old man's expression trembled, and his body lightly trembled. Looking at the black-colored pellet in Long Fei's hands, his eyes narrowed, and he said faintly, Sir, you're not joking about your own life, are you? Long Fei said, I have the antidote, what am I afraid of? It's you people. When your bodies rot and become like smallpox, you will die wherever you go. Stop me. Stop another one to take a look. Tan Dapao looked at Long Fei. He was very clear in his heart that the pellet in Long Fei's hand was not plague pill at all. Because, if they made a mistake, the two of them would die a horrible death. They were in a deadlock for a moment. The old man and Long Fei looked at each other. The old man's eyes were fixated on the pellet in Long Fei's hands, while Long Fei was calmly facing everything, yet his heart was flipped upside down. The heck, are you scared of me? Why aren't you leaving? I can't even continue pretending with this. His back was soaked. Just as Tan Dapao had said, if one revealed even a little bit of it, one would die. The two of them didn't have any military value. Not to mention the old man, perhaps he wouldn't even be able to beat a guard disciple. Half a minute passed. The elder relaxed a bit and said, Sir, what do you think about this? I sent someone back to discuss it with the clan leader and give you an answer as soon as possible. After all, it's 20 million grand mist crystals, that's not a small number. Without waiting for Long Fei's consent, the old man winked at one of the guards. The guard quickly ran out. Long Fei's heart sank. Tan Dapao said, Brother Fei, they are calling for reinforcements. Long Fei also understood very clearly in his heart. However, not even half a minute after the guard left, the guard ran back in a flurry. He was in a hurry, and his eyebrows were tightly knitted. He looked very anxious. The old man was also secretly surprised. It would take at least half an hour to get here, and he was already back. The guard whispered into the old man's ear. The old man's expression changed, he stared at Long Fei and bellowed, Kill. The dozen or so disciples were also startled and instantly attacked. Long Fei's pupils shrank, and he shouted, Who among you will come up? I have released the plague pill. More than a dozen disciples did not stop at all. Long Fei pinched both of his fingers, and shouted loudly, If you want to die, die together. Those disciples were slightly taken aback. Tan Dapao was also shocked. Long Fei looked at the dazed Tan Dapao, and immediately asked, What are you standing there for? Hurry up and run. He quickly threw it towards the flying shuttle. As long as he got on the flying shuttle, he would be able to escape. However, without waiting for them to catch up, the flying shuttle immediately rose into the air, disappearing from the sky in an instant. The old man picked up the black pill that Long Fei had pinched into a ball, placed it on his nose and took a whiff. Pooey. What bullshit. Take him down. Tan De Pao's eyes darkened. Damn, we're finished now. F***CK. Long Fei said in a heavy voice. Looking at the system. There was still a bit more time to update. It was now the final 1%. Chapter 27-25 Step by Step. Chapter 27-25 Step by Step. The update progress bar was a bit slow at the last 1%. Long Fei wasn't sure when it would be completed. It was too late to rely on the system now. Long Fei withdrew the system, his gaze looking at the guards who were rushing over. He glanced at Tan De Pao and said, "If you can't escape, then kill." Tan De Pao looked a little down. "Brother Fei, how do we kill him? He's not a match at all. Any one of them could have killed us easily. We're done for. I didn't even get a hold of a Universal Realm girl's hand." Tan De Pao's biggest wish was to get the prettiest woman in the Universal Realm. His dream was powerful, but reality was cruel. Attack. In the distance. The old man stomped the black medicinal pill on the ground into a pile of mud and said fiercely, "Are you trying to tease me? I'll make you die today." A dozen or so guards instantly attacked. Long Fei's mind moved. "It's time for you to live or die, so at least let me release your power, right?" Monochrome did not speak. Long Fei moved, wanting to activate the black and white power, but he did not. "No." Long Fei bellowed. "What do you mean?" Black and White said, "It's not time yet. I'm going to die soon, it's not time yet." Seeing that the guards were about to rush over and stop them with a single move, wasn't this the right time to do so? It was also at this time. Tan De Pao's eyes widened in shock, and he said, "Brother Fei, another wave of people have come. This is it. This time, I'm really going to die. If this wave of people could not be dealt with, then another wave." It was really impossible to escape now. However, Long Fei looked at the other group of people who were dressed differently, and he was secretly shocked in his heart. Could it be that they are the ones who are going to be handed the mission from Old Man Xie? In the distance. The old man's expression also became tense. A dozen disciples with blue hair on their heads rushed forward. The elderly stared at Long Fei and bellowed, "Withdraw." While they were talking, the old man quickly stood to the side, and the dozen disciples also instantly retreated. He came fast, he retreated fast. She disappeared in the blink of an eye. Tan De Pao sat his butt on the ground, and said, "Mother, you are being too pretentious. I thought I was going to die. I really can't stay in Universal Realm. In a day's time, I almost died a few times. It's too thrilling. Luckily I don't have a heart attack, otherwise I would definitely have died suddenly." Huff. 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 Seeing the group of people who were rushing over at full speed, Tan De Pao slightly shrank back and said, "Brother Fei, we wouldn't be going back into the wolf's lair after getting out of the tiger's den, right?" A middle-aged man walked up and said, "Lord Xie, I apologize for scaring you. We came late." Long Fei still maintained his calm demeanor, but his voice was slightly cold, and he said, "You all still know you came late." Tan De Pao was also not in a good mood. "We almost died." The middle-aged man immediately lowered his head. "I am truly sorry, and I hope that Sire will forgive me." Long Fei shouted, "Forgive what? This transaction has been cancelled. The plague pill you want is gone." East Imperial City was a bad place. Furthermore, he didn't have a system nor a level, so it would be extremely dangerous to stay here for more than a second. It seemed like if those people retreated, they would definitely not let this matter rest. Moreover, Long Fei was very clear that the group of people were not coming for him, but the people with blue hair on their heads. Once he was involved, it would be even more difficult to survive. Right now, the most important thing to do was to leave the East Imperial City as soon as possible. However, the East Imperial City could not even be described as a city, it was simply a huge empire. The buildings were endless, situated on top of various mountain peaks. Moreover, the city walls that towered in the sky were even harder to reach. The city walls were used for defense. What were these walls used for? No one knew. Demon beast. The time outside would be even more dangerous. However, Long Fei was more willing to fight with the demon beast than to get involved in the conflict between the clans in East Imperial City. Tan Dapao was also aware of this point, and said, "Did you hear Lord Shi Fa's words clearly? If the trade is cancelled, then scram. If you don't, then don't blame us for being impolite." It was the king's way to leave as soon as possible. The middle-aged man's eyebrows tightened, and said, "This patriarch told me that I must bring Lord Shi Fa back to the palace, and, Lord, just now, I saw your flying shuttle leaving immediately. If you want to leave the East Imperial City, you must have another flying shuttle. As long as you are willing to follow me back to the Lan Mansion, I am willing to provide you with a new flying shuttle." Tan Dapao said heavily, "You can't leave without a flying shuttle? Is it possible that there are no city gates or something in East Imperial City?" Within a circumference of millions of kilometers, everyone knew that there were no city gates. There was only one way to enter the East Imperial City, and that was to fly in a flying shuttle and say, "There really aren't any city gates in the East Imperial City." "No." Tan Dapao's eyes widened. "That's impossible, right? With a city wall, there should be a city gate." He was in disbelief. Long Fei was the same. He was secretly shocked in his heart. Damn, there isn't even a city gate. What kind of demon beast are they defending against? He was shocked, but on the surface, Long Fei looked like he already knew about it. The middle-aged man said, "This is because the location of the East Imperial City is a little special, located at the center of the city. Outside of the city gates are the Ghost Caves, Night Valley, Ice Plains, and Worm Caves of the western regions. The demon beast in these places are all extremely powerful. The city walls are built to better defend these demon beast. Ghastly Cave, Night Bone, Ice Plains, Wormhole." Long Fei silently recited this sentence, recording these words in his heart. The stronger the demon beast, the more excited he would be. The stronger they were, the more experience they would gain. A great place to level up. Tan Dapao's face was full of shock, but he pretended not to be afraid at all and said, "So what? Do you think we can't fly out of this city wall? I'm telling you that the might of the Lord Shi Fa is something that you all are simply unable to touch." Poochie. Ha ha ha. Several guards behind the middle-aged man laughed. Long Fei said indifferently, "The city walls cannot be flown out." The middle-aged man continued, "It's clear that unless one is a saint-level powerhouse, the walls of the East Imperial City are unable to fly out. We'll talk about it later." The middle-aged man looked at Long Fei and lowered his voice, saying, "Sir, those people just now were the people from the southern, they have their eyes on you." The meaning was very simple. If you do not return to Lan Mansion, you will have nowhere to go. Long Fei said indifferently, "So you're saying we have no other choice?" The middle-aged man said, "Sir, please come back with us. The patriarch is ready." Long Fei pondered for a moment, then said, "Since that's the case, then lead the way." Tan Dapao pulled Long Fei back, and said in a low voice, "Brother Fei, we don't have any plague pill." Long Fei said, "If you don't stay here, you'll just be waiting for death. One step at a time." Chapter 27-26, Bewildering Waves, Vulgar Development. Chapter 27-26, Bewildering Waves, Vulgar Development. The danger level of Universal Realm exceeded Long Fei's expectations. Forget about the inside of the East Imperial City, just the walls surrounding it was enough to explain everything. Here, Demon Beast was king. The strongest overlord in the western regions was not a human, nor was it a member of any other race, it was a demon beast. In the western region's domain, the East Imperial City was like the last piece of pure land. Exit the city? I'm afraid the outcome will be dangerous. At least there was a chance of staying in the city. First, let's not waste any time and develop in a wretched manner. Systems. Waiting for level increase. When the time comes, nothing would be a problem. This was Long Fei's current plan. Tan Dapao's heart was a mess. He was very careful along the way, no one knew what he was thinking. An hour later, they finally arrived at their destination. Lan Mansion. It was located on a small hill. The middle-aged man's name was Lan Yi. He stood at the entrance of the Lan Mansion and made an inviting gesture towards Long Fei, saying, "Master, we have arrived." And then, a disciple quickly ran out and said to Blue Forest, "Elder, the patriarch wants you to bring the guests to the main hall." Lan Yi nodded and said, Please follow me. The patriarch has been waiting for a long time. At this time, Long Fei took a step forward and asked, Does your patriarch recognize me? This is the first time we have met. I heard that this is also the first time you have come to East Imperial City. Long Fei gave Tan Dapao a look and immediately pretended to be stupid. Then how do you know that my master can refine plague pill? Lan Yi said, This is very simple. We only need to issue the mission to the evil sect's pill alliance. The one who accepts this mission is your Lord Shi Fa. Long Fei nodded in his heart and thought, so that's how it is. As long as you haven't seen it before. Evil sect's pill alliance. Seems like it's specially used for evil medicine masters like Shi Fa to use evil alchemy. Tan Dapao became more worried after entering the Lan mansion. Like him, Long Fei had just ascended into Universal Realm and killed Western Fa Shi. If the evil sect's pill alliance found out about this, the two of them would definitely be hunted down. Moreover, let alone the evil sect's pill alliance, they couldn't even fool them right now. Ha ha ha. Welcome. Welcome, my lord. From the old distance, Lan Yuan went forward to welcome them. But, looking at Long Fei's age and appearance, she was slightly stunned, but she did not reveal it. After all, it was impossible to see a person's age clearly from the appearance of this world. Furthermore, he was an alchemy master of an evil sect. Face-preserving pill and disguise pill were normal things. Long Fei maintained his calm demeanor and smiled faintly. A few middle-aged men sat in the hall. As they saw Long Fei walk into the hall, they also stood up slightly. They looked like they were not ordinary people, but they were afraid of Long Fei, which showed the status of an alchemist. After they sat down, Lan Yuan also immediately went straight to the point. I apologize for the unpleasant things that Yang's has done to you. In addition to the price of the plague pill, I will also add another 100,000 grand mist crystals as spiritual compensation. He had used 100,000 grand mist crystals as soon as he had attacked. The Lan clan was powerful. Tan Dapao's eyes tensed up, he looked at Long Fei, and started talking about plague pill S. If he couldn't take it out. This was their headquarters. If they couldn't get the pill out, would they be able to leave so easily? Lan Yuan flipped his right hand, and a space ring appeared in his palm. This is the primordial crystal I prepared for you, take a look. While he was speaking, the few elders in the hall all looked at the space ring in Lan Yuan's hand. That was more than 2 years of Lan clan's income. But it was a super number. Tan Dapao closed his eyes, his heart was thumping hard. We're finished, we can't take out the pills, we're done for now. He was sitting like a needle right now. Long Fei looked at the system and cursed in his heart. System, are you a dead man? Was it their broken net? Not even 1% had been updated completely. Your sister. The update was still incomplete. Long Fei almost couldn't hold it anymore. Lan Yuan looked at Long Fei and said, Master, your plague pill. The corner of Long Fei's mouth lifted slightly. He smiled and said, I'm sorry, I didn't manage to refine it. Tan Dapao's heart skipped a beat, he secretly clenched his fists and stored his strength. No matter what. He was not a sitting duck. Even if he couldn't win, he still had to try. The entire hall was stunned. They were all staring at Long Fei. Lan Yuan's pupils also violently contracted as her voice became somewhat downcast. What did you say? He didn't refine it. Then why did you come to the East Imperial City to hand over your mission? A man said lightly, Patriarch, since there are no plague pill, I think we should forget about it. Right. This might be fate. 10 million grand mist crystals is the income our Lan clan earned over the past few years. It has affected the cultivation of many people, so it's fine if we can't refine a plague pill right now. The other elder followed along. To them, the deal was too big. Moreover, even obtaining the plague pill had a huge risk. Not just anyone could enter the Black Prison Valley, even if the Black Prison Godgrass inside could open up Lan Mai's blocked meridian, it would be a different story. Lan Yuan did not care, staring straight at Long Fei, he suddenly said, If you are not Sifa, then who are you? It was as if he had seen through Long Fei. Tan Dapao almost fell down from his chair, his entire body shivering. But he looked at Long Fei as calm as ever, not even moving an inch. "Aren't you afraid of that?" Long Fei smirked and said, "I am indeed not Lord Shi-Fa." Plop. This time, Tan Dapao really couldn't hold it in, and fell off the chair, and started trembling inside. Lan Yuan's gaze tensed up. At the same time, the two elders who were just talking, suddenly stood up and stared at Long Fei. "Kid, who are you? What is the purpose of the alchemy masters of the evil sect Pill Alliance entering our Lan mansion? If you don't explain yourself today, don't even think about stepping half a step out of here." In an instant, the hall was filled with killing intent. 2 rows of guards quickly surrounded the hall. Tan Dapao stood up, standing behind Long Fei, and looked straight into the eyes of the 2 elders. Long Fei picked up the teacup and blew lightly on it, drinking a bit of the fragrant tea, then said slowly, "Even though I'm not a Western lord, I can refine plague pill su. Humph. Brat, I felt that something was wrong the moment you came in. Shi-Fa is a very famous evil elixir alchemist. Even he couldn't guarantee that he would be able to refine 100%. Who do you think you are? Speak, what is your goal?" At this moment, Long Fei took out a medicinal pellet from his bosom and threw it into Lan Yuan's embrace, saying, "A innate pellet, this level is too trashy." Lan Yuan was startled. Another clan elder looked at Lan Yuan. "Is it really a talent pellet?" Lan Yuan nodded. And then, Lan Yuan looked at Long Fei and said, "Can you really refine plague pill?" He was eager. This was because he knew that the black prison god grass would mature in a few days. If he could not harvest it when it matured, then he would have to wait for 10 years. At this time, there was no time to give the Pill Alliance any more missions. Long Fei smiled lightly and said, "Yes." Chapter 2727 Hongmeng System. Chapter 2727 Hongmeng System. Even if he couldn't at this time, he had to at least say yes. If he said he couldn't, there would only be one outcome: death. Long Fei still did not want to die. He did not come to the universal realm to send himself to his death, but to rob the god's tribe. Lan Yuan said solemnly, "All right, I believe you, but I can only give you 3 days, if you can't make it within 3 days." His voice changed as he said, "Then don't blame me for being impolite." Long Fei replied, "No problem." Lan Yuan said, "Also, for these 3 days, you are not allowed to go anywhere, you can only stay in the Lan clan, this is for your safety. Someone, come. Take these 2 away. Without my order, no one is allowed to come close, and no one is allowed to leave even half a step. If they dare to leave, I will kill them without mercy." "Yes, sir." Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, the 4 guards stood beside Long Fei. Lan Yi said with a faint sound, "Please." Long Fei walked out calmly. Tan Dapao also quickly followed. "Trust him? Refined plague pill in 3 days? Patriarch, what are you thinking about?" A slightly older elder said disdainfully, "That brat's cultivation base is practically nothing. Even an alchemist wouldn't be able to have such a low cultivation level. Besides, that skinny arm is the same. The 2 of them are muggle. That's not right. Muggles are only used to describe trash from the lower planes. They aren't even comparable to muggle. Their physiques can be said to be inferior to even beggars in East Imperial City, but you want to believe in them? 3 days. Humph. If you give him 30 years, he won't be able to refine a plague pill." Lan Yuan said, "I know he can't." That elder was slightly taken aback. "Then why did you give 3 days of time to him?" Lan Yuan said, "I am not giving him 3 more days, I am giving myself 3 days in this Yang's." "What is this nonsense?" the elder said lightly. Lan Yuan said, "Men, spread the news, say that Lan clan has obtained the plague pill. What do you want to do? Are you crazy? You clearly know that the Yangs is plotting against the plague pill, but you still want to announce it. Furthermore, we do not have any plague pill with us." The elder frowned, he did not understand Lan Yuan's decision. Lan Yuan said, "I want to let the Yangs snatch it away." "What? What exactly do you want to do?" Lan clan's strength is on par with Yang's, so any decision made here would likely end in failure. As long as you lose one time, Lan clan might not have any place in East Imperial City. Lan Yuan walked to the entrance of the hall, looked at the sky and said, "So, you cannot lose. This is crazy. You're crazy. I won't let you do that. Lan Yuan, I can't let you bet the fate of our clan on this. I definitely won't let you do this." The elder hurried out. Lan Bao walked over and said, "Big brother, are we really going to do this?" Lan Yuan smiled faintly and said, "If I don't say it like that, how did Yang's fall for it?" The two of them were stunned. Lan Yuan said, "Third brother, fourth brother, make some preparations. We will leave tonight. The only one who can change the fate of Lan clan is Lan Mai." Lan Bao said as he nodded heavily, "Big brother, we were already prepared a long time ago. We were just waiting for you to say something." Lan Yuan said, "All right, let's go tonight. We must collect them before the black prison god grass matures." At this time, Lan Hu asked, and said, "Master, that brat stayed in Lan clan? Should I?" Lan Yuan said indifferently, "The two of them should be low-level tribesmen caught from the unholy cave's long corridor. They have not received their baptism yet. Their physiques and talents have not been cleansed, making it difficult to move an inch in East Imperial City. If I let them stay for 3 days, that would allow them to live for 3 more days. From now on, it's up to them." Actually, Lan Yuan could already tell that there was something fishy. Just like now, although he did not believe that Long Fei could refine a plague pill, he still held onto a glimmer of hope. "Understood. Big brother, let's go back and make some preparations." The two of them quickly left. Lan Yuan gently touched it with his right hand and grabbed the strand of blue hair on top of his head to his chest. "Protect the Lan clan. Protect Lan Mai. You were once one of the Holy General's first powerhouse. All these years have passed, and Lan clan has never been able to reappear in your glory. If Lan Mai were to open up some channels, I believe that our Lan clan will definitely return to his position of primordial tyrant, the god of deep blue." He silently chanted a few sentences. "Humph. You want our Yangs to snatch the plague pill? Lan Yuan, oh Lan Yuan, your wishful thinking is really well thought out. But you never would have thought that your Lan clan had one of my people, right? Ha ha ha. Yangs." The clan head, Yang Tianyang, laughed coldly. "Patriarch, what should we do about the kid who popped out of the west? Should we send someone to settle this?" Yang Tianyang disdainfully said, "What kind of trouble can that trash create? Even if we give him 100 years' time, he won't be able to refine a plague pill. Ignore him. As long as there are no plague pills, Lan Yuan would not dare to take the risk and enter the Black Prison Valley. If you can't get the Black Prison God Grass, the super genius of Lan clan will always be a piece of trash. Before long, my Yangs will ride on their heads and rush to the middle-leveled families in East Imperial City. Ha ha ha. 3 days. Only 3 days. Brother Fei, what do we do? Do we only have 3 days? My universal realm didn't even get a girl's hand and you're already going to die. Tan De Pao paced back and forth in the simple courtyard. He looked like an ant on a hot pan, very anxious. 3 days. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared just like that. Tan De Pao walked to the entrance of the courtyard and looked outside through the crack in the door. Tan De Pao walked back. "This time I really can't escape." Long Fei sat on the stone block and closed his eyes to rest. He was thinking about what the Lan clan wanted the plague pill to do. Against whom? Using plague pills in the city was too risky, and too cruel to kill. Even if he could defeat a strong enemy, the East Imperial City still had a stronger enemy, and he would definitely fight against them. If it wasn't to deal with the enemy, then who was it to deal with? The demon beast. What was his goal? Long Fei could tell that Lan Yuan was very anxious. Even if he knew that he was unable to refine a plague pill, there was still a sliver of hope in his eyes. Just as Long Fei was thinking about this, a voice resounded in his mind. Ding. System prompt. Update complete. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for activating Grand Mist System. Chapter 2728 Normal Practice Mode. Chapter 2728 Normal Practice Mode. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for activating Grand Mist System. As soon as he finished speaking, Long Fei's eyes slowly opened, revealing a look of unconcealable joy. Clenching his fists, he said in his heart, "I'm finally done." Ding. System notification. Activating the primordial system. Activate. Long Fei moved, not hesitation. Ding. Opening system, 1%. 10%. 30%. 80%. 100% system start completed. Buzz. The interface in Long Fei's mind suddenly turned. Personal attributes. Cultivation technique column. System soul treasure bar. System merchant shop. System round table lottery. System special mission bar. System special column. System unknown domain bar. Every attribute column was an interface, which was different from before, but there didn't seem to be any big changes. In fact, the big aspects wouldn't change much. Just like a game, the update was just there to adjust the details, character details, skill details, map details, item details, etc. It couldn't possibly change greatly. The system was the same, from Zhenwu continent to Universal Realm, it was just a change in the map. No matter how it changed. Actually, to Long Fei, there was only one thing he wanted, to level up after killing monsters. It was the same in any other world. The level was always the most important. As long as he could kill monsters and level up his killing experience, breaking through would only mean how much experience points he had left. Check your stats. Long Fei wanted to understand his current stats. Player, Long Fei rank, first level of Warrior Realm, Soldier, General Yuan, Spiritual Master, Hybrid Witch, Celestial Phenomenon, Grand Sage, Supreme Realm, Emperor, Heavenly Sage, Overlord, Celestial Sovereign, Earthly Sovereign, Mysterious Sovereign. The three paragons are the highest realm. Experience, 80,9999999 health point, 10,000 true spiritual value, 100 universal value, 1 point. Note, universal value can only be obtained by killing people. 100 points are full. Once it increases to 100 points, it can be converted into universal soul, and after transforming, it can be stacked on top of each other. Lucky value, 0 luck, 0. Luck determines lottery, system reward. Charm value, 100 points, hidden, martial skill points, 100 points, muggle. A series of attributes appeared. Long Fei studied it carefully before exhaling and said, "Fortunately, I have converted 10 billion experience points into 100 million experience points. That 100 million experience points should be enough to raise me to at least 10 levels, right? As long as I am able to stand still and develop in such a wretched manner, waves will definitely rise in the future." Universal value is the universal soul. 100 points is enough to fuse one universal soul, and your strength is comparable to the peak of the ancient power. Although it's the power of ancient inheritance that's ranked below the 100th, it's still extremely impressive. Long Fei had once used primordial energy in the Zhenwu continent. He would never forget that domineering power for the rest of his life. My charm value is still 100 points. This should be the only part that hasn't changed. Long Fei wanted to open up 100 points, but the system released a notification sound. Ding. Opening the charm value requires 100 points of true spiritual value. Do you wish to do so? System notification. You can only activate it once every 24 hours. F***CK. I just said that there's no change to you, but your sister, there's a change. You can only open it once a day, and you still need true spiritual value. Long Fei complained. Immediately. He also withdrew the heart which had opened the charm value. A charm value of 100 points, once opened, even a ghost or a human would be attracted by his charm value. It was like hanging. It was also a killing move. Who knew when it would have the effect of killing the gods? Finally. Long Fei looked at the rankings. He did not look at the other rankings, and at the last realm, which was the realm of the three sovereign, Heavenly Sovereign, Earthen Sovereign, Profound Sovereign. Judging from the ranking, the Profound Sovereign should be the strongest, which means the God's Tribe is the highest peak realm. F***CK. A boss that surpasses LV-120. Long Fei looked into the sky and thought, Emperor Xian, you bastard, just wash your ass and wait. If I don't explode, I swear I won't be a human. And the entire God's Tribe. Long Fei swore to himself. As he concentrated his thoughts, Long Fei started to look at the other attributes of the system. The cultivation technique column is empty. Nothing. It seems like the 3 great inherited powers in my body do not belong to a cultivation technique. Then, how will I train in the future? I don't care. I'll cultivate evil spirit alchemy technique first. Ding. System notification. The cultivation of evil spirit alchemy technique is complete. The first skill appeared in the Qi method bar. Long Fei looked at the other things again. The primordial system was still in the early stages, and many attributes had yet to fully show themselves. For example, the things in the commercial city were all ordinary things. He checked along the way. Finally, when Long Fei checked the especial column, his eyes revealed shock as he said, "Damn, the biggest change was actually here. Awesome, my brother. Special system. Players can freely convert to normal practice mode. The normal practice mode allows the player to gain cultivation experience, which will allow the player to level up. Tip: you can only convert once a day for 1 hour at a time. Tip: it can be used to comprehend cultivation techniques." In short, Long Fei could transform into a normal practice mode when he wasn't killed strangely, and he could also gain experience from this mode. He could also level up and break through. Moreover, this method could be used to cultivate the 3 great ancient inheritances power that Long Fei did not know how to cultivate. Awesome. Ha ha ha. I don't need to worry about leveling up without killing monsters anymore. It's really improved this time. Long Fei was secretly excited, and also, if he could not rely on the system to cultivate, then he could slowly get rid of the control of the system. It was very good for Long Fei. After all, he did not know what the developer of the system was planning to do, but if the system activated any self-destruct device one day, wouldn't he be doomed? Hey, hey, hey! Brother Fei! Brother Fei? What's the matter with you? Seeing Long Fei's excited and dazed expression, Tan De Pao could not help but to ask worriedly. Huh? Long Fei recovered and asked, "What's wrong?" Tan De Pao shook his head. "You've been in a daze for 10 minutes, and I thought something had happened to you." Huh? How come all the wounds on your body have healed? Tan De Pao asked curiously. Long Fei felt his own body. Indeed. All recovered. It was really because he had leveled up when the system was completed. He was originally level 0, but now he was level 1. It leveled up. Heh. It's starting from now. I still have 100 million experience. I need to quickly release these experience points. Long Fei moved. Convert normal practice mode. Chapter 2729 Upgrade. Chapter 2729 Upgrade. Convert normal practice mode. Long Fei moved. Ding. System prompt. Conversion complete. Long Fei's body slightly stretched. He did not feel anything special about his body. It was the same as having a system. There's no difference. Right. I don't know how to cultivate normally. Long Fei was slightly stunned. He immediately raised his head to look at Tan De Pao, and asked, "How do you normally cultivate?" Cultivation? Long Fei really didn't know how to do it. Completely a rookie. From the very beginning, he relied on the system to level up by killing monsters. If he were to train from the main characters of ordinary fantasy novels, then Long Fei was stupefied. Tan De Pao also looked at Long Fei with a stupefied face. "Brother Fei, you don't know how to cultivate." I do not know how to cultivate in Universal Realm." Long Fei tried to hide it and asked, "Usually how do you train? Do you use your true spirit to enter the body, to temper the body so that it can seek a breakthrough?" Tan De Pao said, "This is only the primary realm, tempering the body to build the foundation. At the end, it is not. Body refinement, heart refinement, and then soul refinement, every step is different. This is the most basic training method. It should be the same in any plane." Tan De Pao didn't dare guarantee it. After all, this was the universal realm, the highest realm. Long Fei pretended to look like he understood her well, and said, "As expected, it's all around the same." Tan De Pao said, "Brother Fei, you still have the mind to cultivate. Shouldn't you think of a way to escape from Lan Mansion?" 3 days. We only have 3 days to live. So no matter how strong your talent is, what can 3 days change? Indeed. 3 days was too short, too short. Even if you have the super blood vein and super inherent skill, what can you learn in 3 days? Long Fei said, since I have nothing better to do, I will just watch and cultivate. Immediately, Long Fei closed his eyes slightly and thought to himself, to sense the true spirit of heaven and earth, to channel it into the body, to refine the body, to nurture the meridians, the blood vein. In theory. Now we'll see how it works. Buzz. Long Fei's idea moved, sensing the world. His mind was empty. It was as if his soul had left his body. Half a minute passed. Long Fei thought in his heart, isn't there a true soul in this world? Why can't I sense it? What's the situation? Nothing. Is it because my level is too low? Try again. Long Fei frowned slightly as he once again sensed the true spirit of heaven and earth. A few minutes passed. It was the same. Nothing could be felt. Again, Long Fei was even more serious. The idea moved. Half an hour passed. It was still void, and it felt as if he had fallen into a dark abyss. Forget about the true spirit being born from heaven and earth, he couldn't even sense it in the air. He had nearly suffered internal injuries several times. It was too hard. Isn't this too difficult? I really don't know how the main characters of those novels managed to survive to cross over from another world. They don't even know how to cultivate. Long Fei secretly complained. He thought that the normal practice mode could make up for the deficiency in the system. He could gain EXP without killing any monsters, but he was thinking too much. It was much more difficult than he had expected. For the past half an hour, he didn't have a single bit of experience points. Too bitter. Tan Depao said, Brother Fei, the dimensional laws of the universal realm are different from the dimensional laws of the world we live in. Furthermore, we have not been baptized by the heavenly tribulation, so people like us are like stowaways, making it even more difficult to cultivate. I think we should forget about this. Our priority right now is to escape from the Lan Mansion. What he said was the truth. However, Long Fei had to level up as well. He has already cultivated evil spirit alchemy technique, but 100 true spiritual value was simply unable to support him refining medicinal pellets, and only by leveling up would he be able to raise his true spiritual value. He had to level up. Long Fei was unconvinced in his heart. I don't believe it, come again. Buzz. He closed his eyes and returned to his normal training mode. A minute passed. 10 minutes passed. 20 minutes passed. The 1-hour time limit for the normal practice mode was almost up, but Long Fei was still unable to sense any kind of true essence qi between heaven and earth. Do you want to admit defeat? I don't believe that the main characters of so many novels have all transmigrated from Earth. I don't believe that I can't do without the game system. Long Fei clenched his teeth. He did not give up at the last minute of time. Actually, without going through the baptism of heavenly tribulation, Long Fei's physique did not change much. The game system wasn't affected much, but his normal practice mode would be greatly affected. In fact, the black and white intervention made the game quest more difficult. Ding. System notification. Normal practice mode only has 10 seconds left. 9 seconds. 8 seconds. Suddenly, in the last few seconds, Long Fei's mind suddenly stirred, a sharp light flashed in his eyes. I felt it. Boom. That strand of true spirit could be said to be the size of a grain of sand. Long Fei was incomparably cautious as he slowly introduced it. Finally, the sand-like true spirit entered his body and nourished his flesh. He didn't even have to wait half a second to be absorbed into his body. However, but there was no sign of nourishing the body at all. The true spirit was simply too little, and there was nothing that could be done about it. At this moment, ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 1 point of experience point. Long Fei. It was also at this time. Ding. The transformation of the normal practice mode is over. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, warrior level, level 2. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. You have received a reward. The reward is level 1 ghost soldier. The system continuously sounded out a few notifications. The chi on Long Fei's body also changed slightly, and became stronger. His strength had increased. Tan Dapao, who was at the side, looked at Long Fei with stupefied eyes and said, "Brother Fei, why were you broke through just now?" Long Fei lightly nodded, and said, "I guess so." Although he had leveled up, Long Fei was not happy at all. 1 hour. A little experience. Normal practice mode was too difficult. Compared to the game system, it was much more difficult. The only good thing about it was that when Long Fei was unable to kill monsters, he could use it to gain some experience. Yi Zichen took a look at the experience bar. Long Fei secretly clicked his tongue. Damn, leveling up to level 3 requires 1,000,000 experience, so this 100 million experience cannot be raised by that much. The difficulty of upgrading the universal realm was beyond imagination. Long Fei looked at the system reward, level 1 ghost soldier. Summon. Ding. Summon successful. Chapter 2730 Azure Dragon Awakening. Chapter 2730 Azure Dragon Awakening. The system beep descended. A ghost guard wearing low-level armor stood in front of Long Fei. Just like an ordinary little soldier. Nothing special. Tan Dapao followed Long Fei's gaze and looked over, and could not help but ask, "Brother Fei, what are you looking at?" "Huh?" Long Fei was shocked, and immediately asked, "Can't you see?" Tan Dapao looked around. "What are you looking at?" "Nothing." Long Fei was secretly shocked in his heart. Ha ha ha. So that's how it is. The ghost soldiers are the ghost soldiers. Ghost, ordinary people can't see this. Doesn't that mean I have an invisible clone? Heh heh. Immediately, Long Fei moved his body and ordered, "You run the map for me, run through all the Lan Mansioness for me." The ghost soldier immediately nodded, "Understood, master." He climbed over the wall and instantly ran out. At the same time, Long Fei could clearly see his surroundings with the ghost soldier's eyes. Patrol guards. The layout of the Lan Mansion. He could see everything. Tan Dapao said, "Brother Fei, how did you break through? Isn't your cultivation speed too fast? To be able to break through within an hour, this is 10,000 times more amazing than being a genius." He was in awe of the other party. Long Fei laughed. "I guess your luck is good," Tan Dapao said. "Then you should make another breakthrough. 1 hour, 1 stage. 3 days, then we don't have to be afraid of anyone." Ha ha ha. Long Fei was startled. "I think you are not called Tan Dapao, you should be called Stupid Cannon." "Right. I've never seen you attack before. What weapon are you using? You came from that plane?" Long Fei was a little curious. Tan Dapao scratched his head. "I'm from the Soul Dueling Continent, my weapon is." He looked at his severed right arm with bitterness in his eyes and said, "You will see it in the future." Long Fei was also slightly nervous, and did not ask any further. Deep in the night, Long Fei sat in the courtyard and waited for 12 o'clock. Because the system setting was that one could only use the normal practice mode once a day, and the alternating time of the day was 0. As long as another day passed after 12 o'clock, the mode could be changed once again. Not much experience. However, to Long Fei, just a little experience would allow him to level up. Lu Li needed to quickly release his EXP bar. Only by leveling up would he be able to protect himself. Just as Long Fei was about to change the mode, the ghost soldier's vision changed. "Big brother, we are ready." 3 people. Long Fei had seen 3 people in the day, Patriarch Lan Yuan and 2 elders. The 3 of them were dressed in tight uniforms. The aura on his body was very thick. His cultivation base was very strong. Lan Yuan lowered his voice and said, "Let's go." The 3 black figures jumped up and down, and quickly disappeared from Lan Mansion. "Huh? Where are we going?" Long Fei asked himself. "Do we have to deal with the Yangs?" "Ghastly soldier, chase after him." The ghost soldiers received the command and quickly followed. However, the level 1 ghost soldier's speed was too slow and it was very strenuous. Moreover, they only followed under the city wall and discovered 3 figures disappearing. Out of the city? Could it be that Lan Yuan is a great sage powerhouse? Target lost. Long Fei moved his idea and called the ghost soldiers back. Just after the phantom soldiers disappeared, Lan Yuan walked out of the darkness. That aura has disappeared. Lan Hu asked, "Big brother, who is it? It seems to have been following us since the Lan mansion. Could it be the Yang's spy?" Lan Bao said, "It shouldn't be. Yang's spies do not have such powerful cultivation. Just their qi alone is not enough to track us." Lan Yuan said, "Forget it, don't think about this. We might be overthinking it. Let's leave the city." Both of them nodded heavily. And then, the three of them slowly disappeared into the darkness, quickly entering a small courtyard near the city wall. Soon after, their auras completely disappeared. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 1 point of experience point. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, Soldier level 3. I leveled up again. Long Fei was secretly excited. He looked at the experience slot and his eyes trembled, immediately cursing out, "Your sister, you want to level up 1 level now for 8 million experience? I have 10 billion experience points with me, but now I need that much experience to level up. System, you really want me to die?" Long Fei was very angry. After leveling, Long Fei tried to cultivate the power of 3 ancient inheritances, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't. The strength of underworld fire was also good. No matter if it was decaying power, none of them could. Unable to promote. Long Fei secretly frowned. With the power of the ancient inheritance, I don't know how to cultivate it. What kind of tragedy is this? Sigh. Long Fei's mind stirred as he looked at the system space, the energy of the sky sword. Sword Spirit Girl, I am already in Universal Realm. I will definitely find him as soon as possible. I will definitely save you. There are actually still 2 space rings that have not been absorbed. These 2 rings are broken. Right. Long Fei did not pay attention to them before, but now he realized that there were still 2 rings that had not been absorbed by the presbyter of God's tribe. The Sky Sword S, the Supreme Dragon Knife S, had all been absorbed by the presbyter of God's tribe, but these 2 space ring S did not. Azure Dragon's corpse. And that huge coffin pulled by the Azure Dragon. Thinking about that, Long Fei immediately entered the Space Ring S body and looked at the extremely ferocious green dragon body. After such a long period of time, there were no changes to the Azure Dragon's physique. No decay. His body coiled around as if he were still alive. Long Fei muttered, "This guy's entire body is filled with treasures, it should be good to be able to forge a few suitable weapons sometime." The idea withdrew and left the space ring. At this moment, the incomparably enormous green dragon's eyes trembled slightly, then suddenly opened. Long Fei did not notice. The idea once again entered the other space ring. Black stone coffin. The runes in the ancient world were like chains, wrapping around the entire sarcophagus. What exactly was inside? Long Fei did not dare to easily open it. However, there was a power inside that continued to seduce Long Fei when he sensed her, like a peerless beauty was wriggling her butt in front of him, and taking off her clothes one by one. This seduction was unstoppable. Who? Long Fei quickly withdrew. The more enticing it was, the harder it was to open. Moreover, that green dragon was not simple. To let him bring it with him, this black sarcophagus must be strange. Before he had absolute confidence in opening it, Long Fei would not easily open it. Other than the 2 space ring, there was also something else. Nantian Monument. A black and white nemesis. It stood there quietly, not moving at all. Just like a soldier. This Nantian Monument was only a small piece of the repression of boundary stones, and most of the repression of boundary stones were still suppressing a certain place in the ancient world, suppressing a person. Or a corpse. It was a dead body. Even if it was a corpse, the repression of boundary stones would not dare to let go so easily, because the consequences were something that even the ancient world could not afford. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2731, Descendant of Holy General. Chapter 2731, Descendant of Holy General. He checked everything he had. Whether it was the azure dragon's corpse, the black sarcophagus, or a few strands of energy, he basically couldn't use them right now. To convert this energy, Long Fei did not have that much power left right now. After all, he had just entered the universal realm. After he finished cultivating the normal mode, Long Fei tried to cultivate without the system. After half a day of cultivation, he still did not have any experience, nor was he unable to sense any heaven and earth true spirit. It seems like the system is bound. Even if I use the normal practice mode to cultivate, it would be useless. Is this a restriction on me? Are you afraid that I'll be too strong? He went too fast. Long Fei thought narcissistically. I can't cultivate it without using the normal practice mode. Without experience, he could not feel the true spirit refining his body. Long Fei tried to cultivate the strength of 3 great ancient inheritances and discovered that he couldn't. Other than the black and white power, the decaying power didn't know how to cultivate it at all. Furthermore, the power that Long Fei had released was negligible. Long Fei was very angry in his heart. He clearly possessed immense power, but he didn't know how to cultivate it. It's really tragic. The human emperor isn't here. Otherwise, I can ask him for guidance. Long Fei muttered. He knew that the duration of the ancient inheritance was very short and he didn't know how to cultivate it. I'm going to look for boss. You damn fatty, go away. Hey, who are you? What do you want? Tang Renjie was trapped by a fat guy in a creek and continuously struggled, but it was completely useless. His strength was just too insignificant in front of the fat guy. Several corpses lay behind the fatty. These people were all foreign experts, and their cultivation was not simple. The fatty was naturally the human emperor. The human emperor said, either your boss is in another world, or he has entered the universal realm. Tang Renjie secretly shivered, and said, Universal realm? F***ck. I heard that the universal realm has the prettiest girls in the millions of planes. I want to go, take me there. Tang Renjie's interest was piqued. There was nothing more interested in him than girls. The human emperor shook his head. You won't be able to go right now. Tang Renjie asked, why? The human emperor said, because you are too weak. If it wasn't for me just now, you would have already died in that manner. F***ck. Don't I have you? What am I afraid of? Tang Renjie said as a matter of fact. The human emperor glared at him and shouted, I am your bodyguard. Can I protect you for your entire life? If you want to enter the universal realm, then you must become stronger. Otherwise, you will be a burden even if you enter. He didn't say who sent those outer space powerhouses he killed just now. They also didn't say that they were in a very dangerous situation. Not only Tang Renjie, the human emperor himself was the same. If the 10,000 World Hunt Squad were to be involved, they would also be hunted down. Right now, they were only a few outer space powerhouse, so if they were chased down by the powerhouse of God's tribe, he might not be able to hold them off. Wherever he went, he would chase after and kill him. Sooner or later, they would be wiped out. Tang Renjie trembled slightly, and said, I want to become stronger, aren't you the human emperor? You should be very powerful, right? I acknowledge you as my master, and you teach me how to become stronger. The human emperor was startled. You've decided, Tang Renjie said. I've decided, I must step into the universal realm, I must become strong. The human emperor felt a tinge of excitement in his heart. All right, Tang Renjie also immediately knelt on the ground, and said, Greetings, master. Tears filled the corners of the human emperor's eyes as he smiled. Good. Hurry and get up. Hurry and get up, Tang Renjie said in disdain. Isn't it just taking in a master? Is there a need to get so excited? Tang Renjie didn't understand why the human emperor was so excited. The human emperor didn't explain anything. Tang Renjie had experienced a great tribulation, so if he were to unleash all of his potential this time, he would definitely be extremely strong. The human emperor muttered in his heart, only the husky is left. Tang Renjie looked into the sky and muttered, Universal realm, wait for me. I will definitely go. I want to become stronger. If becoming strong wasn't for the sake of the girls, then it would be meaningless. Hey. Without waiting for him to finish speaking, the human emperor slammed his hand on the human emperor's head. Say it again. Tang Renjie immediately changed his words. If becoming stronger is not for the sake of being a girl, then there's no meaning. Crack. Another chestnut burst out and the human emperor shouted, "Say it again." Tang Renjie's head swelled up as he said, "Didn't I say it earlier? Do I have to say it again? All right, since you are my master, I will say it again. Listen to me carefully, this is the last time. If I don't become stronger for the sake of my sister." Not waiting for him to finish, the human emperor's eyes widened as he madly struck out with his fist. "I'll make you do this for my sister. I'll make you do this for your sister. I'll make you do this for your sister." The night passed in silence. In the morning of the next day, Long Fei walked out of his room. The next second, it trembled slightly. There was a person sitting in the courtyard. A woman. A blue-haired woman quietly sat there. From afar, she looked like a pure fairy. Two big blue hair and ponytails. A light blue dress. If it weren't for the difference in her clothes, she really would have wanted the little sister Yuan from the second world. Long Fei was lost in thought. Blue hair? It seems to be different from the others in Lan Clan. Her blue hair was different from the others in the Lan Clan. Her blue hair was as dark blue as the ocean, making it look very special. It was breathtaking. At first glance, it looked as if it was branded into his heart. Lan Mai didn't seem to notice Long Fei's presence. Her eyes were somewhat dazed as she stared at a certain direction. There was a trace of worry and anxiety between his eyebrows. People couldn't help but feel pity for him. Cough cough. Long Fei coughed lightly. Lan Mai's expression changed. He looked at Long Fei, his expression became slightly cold, and went straight to the point. "You are an evil spirit pill alchemist?" Long Fei nodded, and said, "Yes." Lan Mai said, "You still have a day, you must refine a plague pill for me. You must refine it before the sun sets today." "Hey!" Long Fei was surprised for a moment, and said, "Isn't it 3 days? How did it become a day?" Lan Mai replied, "If I say it's only a day, then it's a day. If you can't refine it, then you know the consequences." Long Fei smiled faintly. "Refining plague pill is not a problem. The problem is, who are you going to use this kind of vicious pill to deal with?" Lan Mai said, "You don't have to care about that, anyway, as long as we aren't dealing with people, it's fine. Not human. So that's the demon beast." Long Fei thought about how Lan Yuan and the other two had quietly sneaked out of the Lan clan last night, and said, "Are you really going to deal with the demon beast?" Lan Mai said stubbornly, "You don't need to care, just focus on refining the pills." "I don't need to care. Then I won't." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, a voice came out from below the black and white dragon-shaped mark on his right arm. "Help her." Long Fei trembled, and asked, "Why?" "Because she is a descendant of Holy General." Chapter 2732, Bewitching Lan Mai. Chapter 2732, Bewitching Lan Mai, descendant of Holy General. Long Fei was secretly shocked. After pondering for 2 seconds, he said, "I don't know. What is the Holy General?" "I don't know." "And what was a descendant of Holy General?" "I still don't know." Since he didn't know, then why did he help? Black and White immediately became furious. "Holy General, you are my former little brother, do you understand?" Long Fei said, "I don't understand. What does your little brother have to do with me?" Black and White. Long Fei replied, "It's not like he's my little brother." Black and White. Long Fei looked at Lan Mai and said, "Don't tell me the consequences. I definitely won't be able to refine a plague pill in a day, unless you tell me where the patriarch of the Lan clan went and what he did." Suddenly, Lan Mai's gaze tensed up as he stared at Long Fei, and said solemnly, "How do you know that my father has left the Lan mansion?" "Your father? The one who is in charge of Lan clan?" Long Fei said, "You don't need to know this, anyway. Even if I knew that he had left, it should be related to the plague pill, right? East Imperial City, the city wall is tens of thousands of meters high. Unless you are a great sage powerhouse, you cannot fly over there. Your father's cultivation should not have reached the great sage realm, right? What are they doing out of town?" Lan Mai's gaze grew tighter as he said, "You sure know quite a lot." While they were talking, she got up slowly and took a few steps back. Near the yard door. Maintain a state of vigilance towards Long Fei. Long Fei said, "Speak, what is your father looking for when he leaves the city? If you do not say it, I will not be able to help you." Lan Mai's eyes became heavy, and he stared at Long Fei. "Who exactly are you?" Long Fei calmly sat down, shrugged. "If you don't want to say it, then forget it, I don't care. I'm not the one who wants the plague pill." Lan Mai slightly stopped. Looking at Long Fei, she had a struggle in her heart. The Black Prison Valley in the ghastly cave was extremely dangerous. The demon beast was even more of a monster for Kai Mai. There was no way to approach at all. But, for his own sake, his father still chose to enter the Black Prison Valley even without the plague pill. It was fundamentally impossible for him to enter the valley, and it was also impossible for him to obtain the Black Prison God Grass. The three of them were obviously going to die. Lan Mai struggled, his heart relaxed, and asked, "You can really refine plague pill?" Long Fei nodded his head, and said, "Refining this kind of pill is not difficult, plague pill." He had no idea how to refine it at the moment. He wanted to know what kind of enemy plague pill were used against. Lan Mai clenched his teeth and said, "Anyway, this is not a secret, Hare. My father went to the Black Prison Valley to find Black Prison God Grass to unblock the blocked meridian channels in my body. Only the Black Prison God Grass in the Ghost Cave can unblock it. Originally, I wanted to wait for the plague pill to become infected by the plague, but I didn't expect that I would not get it. I didn't have enough time now. The Black Prison God Grass will mature in a few days, and after it matures, it will wither rapidly. It will be useless after it wilts, which is why my father left the city." Lan Mai did not hide from him. Long Fei curiously looked at Lan Mai, and said slightly, "Your meridians are blocked." Lan Mai nodded his head, "En." Long Fei said, "So that means you are unable to cultivate." With a thought, the idea said to the Black and White, "Did you hear that? Your descendant of Holy General veins are blocked, you cannot cultivate." Black and White said, "Vein of blue water are different from ordinary blood vein. If it wasn't for the tendons and veins clogging up the vein of blue water in her body, it wouldn't be this pure." "What do you mean? Could it be that blockages in her meridians are still beneficial to her?" Long Fei was a little confused. Black and White said, "That's right, but it cannot be for too long. If she is unable to clear it after the age of 20, she will be devoured by pure vein of blue water." 20. Long Fei looked at Lan Mai and asked, "How old are you?" Lan Mai replied, 18. Long Fei said, "That's not urgent, there's still 2 more years of time." Lan Mai asked, "What 2 years?" "Huh." Long Fei said, "Nothing, just tell me about Black Prison Valley's situation. It's as dangerous as you say, even if there's a plague pill, it's useless. And I want to know what kind of demon beast I need to be able to refine the targeted plague pill." Lan Mai asked, "What do you mean?" Long Fei said, "My meaning is very simple, bring me to the Black Prison Valley." This was his true goal: exit the city, kill the demon beast, and level up. To be able to comprehend just a bit of experience points in one day, when would it be possible to completely release all of the experience? No way. Lan Mai didn't think at all and rejected it instinctively. "My father said that you're not allowed to take even half a step out of here." Long Fei shrugged his shoulders, and said, "Then I'll say it, just wait for news of your father's death." Lan Mai's eyes became anxious. Long Fei said indifferently, "As long as I see Black Prison Valley's demon beast, I will know how to refine plague pills that are specially carved for them, so that I can sweep them clean. Otherwise, even if I refine plague pills, it would be useless. Think about it carefully. I'll give you 1 day to think about it. Going to the Black Prison Valley will not benefit me at all. If it wasn't for a friend asking me to help you, I wouldn't even bother to meddle in this." Long Fei grinned. Black and White said, "Was that friend of yours me?" Long Fei rolled his eyes at him. Long Fei couldn't see, but Black and White smiled faintly, laughing like a 300 kilograms fatty. Lan Mai left. Tan Dapao woke up, rubbed his eyes and walked out of the room, saying, "Brother Fei, who was it this early in the morning?" Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Get ready, maybe we can go out at night." "Huh." When Tan Dapao heard the 2 words "get out," He was immediately in high spirits and said, "Can you get out?" "Prepare my ass, I can leave right now." Long Fei said. "No rush." Tan De Pao became excited. I can go out, ha ha ha. Tan De Pao, will definitely not die here, ha ha ha. Long Fei opened the system, and thought, plague pill, what level of pill is it? How do I refine it? Looking at the evil spirit alchemy technique, Long Fei thought, I have to think of a way to activate this level increase. If the plague pill can really be poisoned to death, then leveling up would be much easier. The ancient alchemy technique can use the alchemy of the weeds. I wonder if this will work. Let's give it a try first. Long Fei picked up a stalk of grass and the idea moved. Evil spirit alchemy technique. Ding. Refinement failed. Proficiency plus 0. Proficiency is 0? No. Long Fei's heart sank. He tried a few more times, but it was the same. Proficiency was still 0 point. It seems like the system update has fixed this bug. It seems like we can only wait until it gets dark. Let's level up first, then think of another way. At this moment, Black and White said slightly, the difference between evil pill and normal pills lies in the word evil. You have to find an evil spirit grass in order to refine it, or use a person directly. Chapter 2733, Horror Like That. Chapter 2733, Horror Like That. Evil? Using a person to refine it. When he thought about the methods of the Western and how his alchemy room was filled with skeletons and corpses, Long Fei understood a lot, so it was no wonder he was called the evil spirit alchemy master. It was very different from a normal alchemy technique. Long Fei said, "You can refine?" Black and White said contemptuously, "I disdain refining this kind of mediocre pill. In the past, when I refined a medicinal pill, a single medicinal pill could cause a plane to wither, and become dead. After 10,000 years, not even a blade of grass grew. It was considered a forbidden zone for life. Forget about back then. You can refine one now." Long Fei interrupted. Monochrome was taken aback for a moment. "Right now? Right, now. Hurry up and refine it. If you need anything, just say it." Long Fei was getting impatient. Black and White said, "About that. I was able to refine it back then, but now? If you can't even refine it, then stop bragging about it. Don't make me despise you." Long Fei knew that the Black and White could not be refined out, and thought to himself, seems like I have to rely on myself for everything. Using people to create alchemy is impossible. Evil spirit type spirit grass? Phew. Let's talk after we leave the city. Long Fei had been waiting all day. He looked calm. Actually, he was also worried in his heart, because he was worried that Lan Mai would not be bewitched by him. If Lan Mai did not come, even if he could leave Lan Mansion, he would not be able to leave the city. "It's dark. Brother Fei, can we leave now?" Tan De Pao could not wait and walked to the entrance of the courtyard. Looking at the 4 guards outside, he turned to Long Fei and asked. Long Fei shook his head. "It's not time yet," Tan De Pao said. "Then how long will it take?" Long Fei said, "Wait." Tan De Pao sat down on the stairs and went silent. Time passed minute by minute. The night was exceptionally long. 1 hour passed, 2 hours passed, 3 hours passed. There was no sound from outside the courtyard. It was almost midnight. Long Fei looked at the pitch-black night sky and thought to himself, could it be that my bewitching has failed? At this moment, the ghost soldier moved slightly. Long Fei's eyes flashed with a bright light. "It's here." Tan De Pao immediately stood up and asked, "Brother Fei, who's here?" A few muffled sounds could be heard from outside the courtyard. Long Fei smirked and said, "Cannon, open the door." Tan De Pao quickly ran up and opened the gate of the courtyard. His body suddenly trembled, his face was pale white, and he anxiously retreated, exclaiming, "Ghosts." Lan Mai stood in front of the door. Long Fei covered the cannon's mouth and scolded, "Be quiet." Lan Mai was dressed in a tight suit, with curves that revealed her curves. If it was said that she was a soft girl wearing a dress during the day, then she was a beautiful female assassin. After Tan De Pao calmed himself down, he looked at Lan Mai and gulped a mouthful of saliva. Lan Mai looked at Long Fei and said, "Let's go." Long Fei glanced at the fallen guards at the door and quickly followed them. Tan De Pao fiercely kicked the guard at the door and said softly, "Brother Fei, wait for me. Who is this sister? What's your name? I thought it was a ghost at first, but I didn't expect it to be a peerless beauty. Can you help me ask, what do you think of me?" Long Fei glared at him and said, "She said you're very long-winded." The three of them walked out of the Lan mansion in a relaxed manner and were not obstructed at all. Maybe it was because the wild was too deep. Or perhaps it was because Lan Mai was leading the way. In short, the three of them did not think too much about it. To Long Fei, being able to leave the Lan mansion was enough. They left the Lan mansion. Lan Mai looked at Long Fei and said, "I've brought all of you out of the Lan clan. How are you going to leave the city?" Tan De Pao said, "You are from the East Imperial City. How do you not know? And what are we doing out of town?" Long Fei replied, "I know. Grand Elder, are we just going to let them leave like that? Do you want to?" Lan he stroked his goatee and said indifferently, "There's no need, they can go wherever they want to go. There's one thing I can't let them return to Lan clan. As for life and death, that's his business." "Yes, sir." The corner of Lan his mouth hooked up as he sneered, "The two gifted Vanes? So what? With your veins blocked, you are just a piece of trash. If you survive, you will only be a burden to Lan clan. Might as well die." Another old man lowered his voice and said, "We should have received the news from Yang's." Lan he smiled faintly and said, "After we finish this matter, we will discuss about the matter of cooperation with Yang's. Lan Yuan has been obstructing our cooperation with Yang's all this while, and he has become the greatest obstacle to the rise of our Lan clan. Only by cooperating with him will our Lan clan be able to quickly rise, and waste all our time on our daughter. Pass down my orders. Even if Lan Mai goes into closed-door training, no one is allowed to come close to prevent Lan Yuan's direct descendants from finding trouble." "Yes, sir. It's here." Long Fei followed the path taken by the ghost soldiers and found a simple and crude small courtyard at the corner. After Long Fei and the others entered, an oil lamp lit up in the courtyard as an old hunchback slowly walked out from his room. There was a scar on his face, his hair was a little messy and he looked somewhat eerie. When he walked to the courtyard and saw Long Fei and the other two, he said slightly, "If you want to go out of the city, you have to pay the bill." Tan De Pao immediately said, "I don't have any money." Lan Mai was also confused, and said, I don't have money either." Long Fei asked, "How much?" The hunchbacked old man looked at Long Fei and said, 1,000,000 grand mist crystals. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Tan De Pao shouted loudly, and said, "Old man, are you robbing me?" The hunchbacked old man smirked and said with a sinister smile, "This is better than robbing. If you can't afford it, you can pay your passage in another way." Tan De Pao asked, "What method?" The hunchbacked old man said, "The life of any one of you three." As soon as he finished, the aura on his body turned dark and gloomy. It was very gloomy. Although he might look like a hunchbacked old man, Long Fei could feel that if he attacked, the three of them would die a miserable death. Moreover, Tan De Pao did not have a cultivation. Even if Lan Mai had a bit of cultivation, he was unable to handle it. Long Fei himself was only a level 3 warrior, he was not his opponent. Long Fei's eyes grew cold as he took out a space ring from his bosom and said, "How about this? I'll first mortgage this to you and wait for us to take a risk before giving you the money." The ring containing the corpse of the green dragon. However, other than Long Fei, no one else could open it. The hunchbacked old man looked at the ring and a light flashed in his eyes, because he could see that the seal on the ring had broken. "The mark of the god's tribe." He looked at Long Fei seriously and said, "Follow me." He followed the old man through a narrow passageway and passed through the city walls half an hour later. The old man looked at Long Fei and said faintly, "Kid, I wish you good luck." Long Fei said, "Thank you." The old man turned around and walked back, his expression serious. God's tribe space ring. Why would a person from God's tribe appear in a place like Western regions? Or should I say, did the people from God's tribe discover me? I've been hiding here like a mouse, why aren't you letting me go? The old man's body seemed to be on fire. When he walked back to the courtyard, it was already filled with people. They were all in the same service, with a flame embroidered on their chests. Old man, where are those 3 people? I'm asking you a question, are you King Deaf? The hunchbacked old man raised his eyes slightly and his aura suddenly burst forth. Buzz. With a low cry, the heads of the dozens of elite Yang's cultivators in the courtyard were all severed. Terrible as this. Thank you for your support. Chapter 2734 Launcher. Chapter 2734 Launcher. Brother Fei, what's that ring you gave me? Why did he lead us there just by looking at us? Tan De Pao asked. Lan Mai also asked, that's right, 1,000,000 grand mist crystals is not a small number. Long Fei said, don't worry, it's just a small thing. We can redeem it after we earn enough money from this trip. Long Fei was not worried about the space ring. Because the ring had his imprint, so no one in this world could open it except him. As such, the old geezer with the green dragon corpse inside could not move at all. However, Long Fei did not know that the space ring was actually a space ring that only the presbyter of God's tribe had the qualifications to wear, and he also did not know that it was because the hunchback old man did not even look at the God's tribe's imprint on the ring that he was able to let Long Fei and the others pass without looking at it. At that moment, the old man's heart was covered with a layer of coldness. Similarly, it too carried a killing intent. However, he did not dare to make a move. The God's tribe was too powerful. He was worried that the moment he made a move, he would be in big trouble. It just so happened that the group of Yang's men bumped into the spear, and with a single thought, all of them were killed. Terrifying, domineering to the extreme. Huff. I'm free. I'm finally free. The 3 of them walked further and further, and the city walls that were high up in the air became further and further away from them. Tan De Pao took a deep breath. The aura of freedom is too comfortable. Boss, you really are awesome. Every time I follow you, it's always dangerous. Hee. Where are we going now? Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Tan De Pao said, right now, we should leave the East Imperial City as far away as possible. It's best if we go to another city, and then we'll be out of danger. Is that so? Brother Fei. Long Fei kept giving him meaningful looks, afraid that Tan De Pao would spout nonsense. However, Tan De Pao could not help but ask as he saw the twitching look in Long Fei's eyes, Brother Fei, are your eyes cramping? Why did he keep flashing around non-stop? Were you tired these past 2 days? Lan Mai stared at Long Fei, staring intently. Tan De Pao said, Beauty, did you also notice that my boss's eyelids are cramping? Long Fei wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Then, he vowed sincerely, don't worry, I will definitely do what I promised you. Lan Mai said, if you 2 dare to escape, I will definitely not let you 2 go. Moreover, do you think anyone can walk out of Western regions? Not to mention the great sage powerhouse, even higher level powerhouse would not be able to leave without a plane. The Western regions was extremely wide. The 4 perilous areas were once again hellish existences. The East Imperial City was in the center. Without a plane, it was impossible to leave this place. You know, back then, the East Imperial City was not even called a city, it was called Eastern Emperor Prison. Some of the exiles were sent here and imprisoned. Such a tall and lofty wall was actually just a wall to prevent escape. As time passed, the number of people in the Eastern Emperor Prison grew more and more, and they also slowly began to have their own order. After that, this place became a East Imperial City. However, even a 3-year-old child would know that no one could leave the Western regions. Anyone who entered the East Imperial City would never be able to leave. He wanted to leave the Western regions? A fantasy story. Tan De Pao looked at Long Fei and asked, Brother Fei, what did you promise her? Long Fei rolled her eyes at him, and said, don't talk. Lan Mai said indifferently, I believe in you, that's why I took the risk to bring you out, you should have trust between people, right? Of course. You can also escape, but the result of your escape is death. As soon as he finished, the aura on Lan Mai's body trembled slightly. In less than half a second, Tan De Pao stood still, his face pale blue, unable to breathe. Although Long Fei didn't do it like that, he still felt a bit uncomfortable. Although Lan Mai could not cultivate, her cultivation was higher than Long Fei's. It could easily crush both Long Fei and Long Fei. Long Fei said, "I, Long Fei, will definitely do what I say." He muttered in his heart, "Besides, you are descendant of Holy General, the former little brother of Black and White." Lan Mai slightly loosened his breath, and said, "This is more like it. You better clear it up for me, your little lives are still in my hands." While they were talking, Lan Mai identified the direction, and said, "Southwest direction, quickly." He walked out with large strides. Tan De Pao took a deep breath. "This girl is really popular. Brother Fei, are we really going?" Long Fei nodded, "Go." While they were talking, dozens of kilometers away, there was a huge boom, rumble. A flame that shot into the sky exploded. Flames shot up into the sky, covering half the sky as bright as day. Lan Mai's pupils tightened. Uncle Bao Zi's radiant bullet. Did something happen? Lan Mai immediately said to Long Fei, "Hurry." Long Fei anxiously followed. Tan De Pao looked into the sky in a daze. The power of this explosion is very strong. Could there be a launcher in this world? That's right, this is the universal realm, there are all kinds of warriors here. Glancing at his severed right arm, Tan De Pao revealed a bitter expression. Long Fei shouted, "Cannon, what are you waiting for? Quickly follow me. Leopard, run. Faster. Quick, quick, quick." At the mouth of the Black Prison Valley, Lan Yuan, who was covered in blood, lifted Lan Hu on his shoulder and heavily shouted towards the nearby Lan Bao. "Big brother, leave quickly. Leave me alone." Lan Bao was holding onto a machine gun that was similar to a super machine gun. The only difference was that this machine gun was wrapped with breath of true spirit-ess. It was also released from Lan Bao's body. It was like an energy. This kind of energy was like a bullet that was constantly being filled. Lan Bao held it in both hands and swept at the black substance that was rushing out. Bang, 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 bang. "Come on. All of you. Come the F***CK. Come at me, you beasts." Bang, bang, bang. Flames shot up into the sky. Lan Bao roared frantically. His face was red with anger and ferocity. The dark blobs of demon beast in the valley were suppressed by the powerful firepower, but they weren't injured, but they continued to move forward. However, their speed and start slowed down a bit. "Leopard, let's go. Hurry up." Lan Yuan bellowed. The Black Prison Valley had already been shaken, and the ferocious demon beast had already flanked them from both sides. Lan Bao was simply unable to hold on for long. Cough cough. Lan, whose face was pale as he said, "Big brother, let me down. I'm fine, go and bring the leopard back first." "Big brother, go quickly." Lan Yuan frowned, he did not move, and he did not look at Lan Hu either, because, in the distance, Lan Bao was already surrounded by the demon beast in the Black Hell Valley. He had fallen into a death trap. There was no way out. Chapter 2735 Lan Mai's Power. Chapter 2735 Lan Mai's Power. Lan Yuan had made a huge mistake in his judgment of Black Prison Valley's demon beast. It was far more powerful than he had imagined. Compared to these demon beast, the difference between the three of them was just too big. He thought that he could sneak in, get the Black Prison Godgrass and leave, but their appearance immediately attracted the attention of countless demon beast. For a full day and night, they fled everywhere. Lan, who was heavily injured, and his chest was pierced by a force. Lan Yuan was also severely injured. Now, Lan Bao was trapped, in a hopeless situation, and was unable to come out. Seeing his own brothers being surrounded, Lan Yuan's heart burned with anger, his fists clenched tightly. At this moment, Lan Hu suddenly struggled free, and rushed forward. "You dog, I will fight it out with you." At this moment, a red light flashed from Lan Hu's head. Lan Yuan's gaze tensed up, and in the next moment he pounced forward recklessly. "Hu Zi, don't. Lan Bao let out a heavy cry as well. "Second brother." Rumble. Lan Hu self-destructed, blasting a few huge black demon beastess away, while he himself, it had already turned into powder. Ah! 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 Lan Yuan's eyes were about to explode from the pain. Watching his own blood brother self-destruct, it was as if his heart was instantly crushed and incomparably painful. And Lan Bao was the same. Seeing his second brother self-destruct, he went even crazier, his eyes bloodshot. Son of a B***tch, your father will go all out against you. Rumble. 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 With the transformation of the gun, the breath of true spirit from Lan Bao's pubes shot out like a violent tide. The huge spear turned into a cannon with a diameter of 15 centimeters. Boom. A series of explosions rang out. A shell was fired. Boom. 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 One shell after another exploded outwards. This was Lan Bao's transformation of his true soul. His pubes was quickly drained. He was only a launcher of the spirit realm, and he could not sustain such intense consumption of his true soul for long. Moreover, it caused huge damage to the pubes. However, at this point in time, he was willing to throw caution to the wind. Seeing that, Lan Yuan's eyes trembled. Huzi is dead, I cannot let you die, I cannot. His voice was trembling. Standing up from the ground, the strand of blue hair on top of his head emitted a sparkling and translucent blue light that was like the deep sea. At this moment, the aura on his body abruptly changed. Buzz. A blue light enveloped him. Lan Yuan's skin all turned blue, and stripes appeared all over his body. Roar. The angry ape roared. Lan Yuan supported himself with his 4 limbs, flying straight up into the air. He landed heavily on the ground. He landed beside Lan Bao, swept his gaze, and the blue-colored flames from his body jolted the black demon beast a few steps back. Half a second later, the demon beast pounced forward even more excitedly. Lan Yuan hugged the Lan Bao who had fallen into madness, and jumped with all his might. Shua. A blue light flashed in the air. It was dazzling in the dark. What's that? Tan De Pao couldn't help but ask as he saw a blue ray drawing an arc in the distance. Long Fei was also secretly surprised. However, Lan Mai's expression darkened. Daddy. It was also at this time. In the Black Hell Valley, a black object the size of a tree root pierced through the void like an arrow. The blue light was nailed to the ground in midair. A string of 2. It directly pierced through the bodies of Lan Yuan and her. Lan Mai's body trembled slightly as he exclaimed loudly, "Father." Then, he rushed forward without a care for himself. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, and he quickly followed, thinking to himself, what the F***ck is this demon beast? Who. In the air, Lan Yuan was heavily gasping for breath. Lan Bao was on the verge of death. He looked at the blood gushing out from his waist. His kidney was pierced. Lan Bao said, "Big brother, quickly let me go, quickly." Lan Yuan took out a big blade, and slashed at the tree root. Boom. Flames flew in all directions. The root was like a piece of fine steel, and all it could see was a shallow mark that could not be cut. A sinister laughter came from deep within the valley. TSK. Such rich blood veins power. I have not eaten such a dense amount of blood veins power for a long time. Heh. Then, as the roots slightly moved, tiny tendrils continuously grew from the roots of the tree. The tentacles wildly grew and then quickly crawled back up Lan Yuan's and Lan Bao's bodies. It was as if a spider had caught its prey, and it quickly entangled itself with the spider web. Not only that, these tentacles had countless suction cups on them, and as soon as they touched the surface of the skin, they began to frantically absorb the energy. What a dense blood vein. Ha. Even though it's a bit sparse, your blood vein is really not bad. After all these years, I've never absorbed such a powerful blood vein. Hee. Terrifying sounds continued to ring out from within Black Prison Valley. Let me go. Big brother, let go of me. Big brother. Lan Bao said quickly. Lan Yuan did not loosen his grip. If he did, he could escape, but his brother would immediately become a dried-up corpse. He had lost a brother. One more can't die. Even if they died, they would die together. The 3 brothers had grown up together and cultivated together. For the sake of his career, they had paid far too much. Now, it was time for his children again to throw away their lives. Lan Yuan hated himself. He hated himself for not being able to save his daughter alone, hated himself for pulling his brother into the water. Since he couldn't escape. Then die together. Lan Yuan said solemnly, I let you two down, I'm not worthy to be your big brother. Lan Bao said, Big brother, what nonsense are you spouting? Is still waiting for you at home. You have to live, understand? You must live. Let's go. Lan Yuan remained indifferent. Since he did not manage to obtain the black prison god grass, it was useless even if he went back. He could not save his daughter. He didn't even know how to face it. At this moment, a girl rushed into the valley. A girl with a head full of blue hair looked at her father and uncle who were bound in mid-air. Lan Mai used all his strength to shout loudly, Let go of my father. Buzz. Two blue ponytails shot up into the sky. Rays of blue light burst out, covering the entire Black Hell Valley. It was extremely powerful. The entire valley was shocked. One ring after another. Just like the light and shadows under the water. It was also as if the entire world had turned into an ocean and Lan Mai was the center of the ocean. Strength was overpowering. Vein of blue water. One of the holy general. Long Fei was frightened by the power that was being transferred from Lan Mai's body. He said in shock, Damn, this power. Isn't that a bit too fierce? Bam. Bam. The tree root suddenly retracted. Lan Yuan and Lan Bao fell from the sky. In the darkness. TSK TSK, TSK TSK. There are even stronger blood vein. It's mine. Chapter 2736 Can you let me blow it once? Chapter 2736 Can you let me blow it once? The power that exploded out from Lan Mai's body was only an energy. It was not an offensive power. This was also the reason why she exploded out of control due to the blood veins' energy being lost due to her anger. However, to her whose veins were blocked, such an explosion would reduce her lifespan. If she did not open her meridians at the age of 20, she would be swore by the blood vein. But now, one of her outbursts directly reduced her lifespan by a year. In other words, Lan Mai only had 1 year left to live. Lan Mai did not know, but Lan Yuan's gaze tensed up, and his entire being panicked. Lan Mai, you, why are you here? Let's go. Let's go. Hurry up. Faster. A hysterical roar. At this moment, Lan Yuan had really gone crazy. In his entire life, the person he was most worried about was his daughter, Lan Mai, and the person he was most worried about was her. Since young, he had never let Lan Mai out of his house. Now, when Lan Mai appeared in such a dangerous valley, his mind was completely blank. Lan Bao also shouted loudly, Run, Lan Mai, quickly leave this place, quickly. Lan Mai's two ponytails slowly drooped down. She did not run, but rather ran towards her father's direction with ease, and ran even further into the valley. This made Lan Yuan even crazier. TSK TSK. TSK TSK. TSK TSK. A sinister, eerie, and strange laugh. You delivered yourself to me, ha ha ha. Whoosh, whoosh. From all directions, underground, and mid-air, dozens of black tree roots shot out like a spatial shuttle, charging towards Lan Mai from the depths of Black Prison Valley in an instant. No. No. Lan Yuan screamed in pain and anger. Lan Mai's cultivation was too low, she could not even see the roots that were stabbing towards her in the darkness. She only wanted to help her father up. No. Lan Yuan shouted so loudly that his voice seemed as though it was about to burst. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, crap. And then, the idea moved, ghastly soldier. The ghost soldier appeared beside Long Fei and used all of its strength to throw Long Fei towards him. Boom. Long Fei landed first and directly blocked in front of Lan Mai. At this moment, whoosh whoosh whoosh, whoosh whoosh whoosh, all of the tree roots rushed out, straight towards Long Fei. Tan De Pao exclaimed, Brother Fei. Long Fei's mind tensed up, the corners of his eyes turned sinister, the spirit chi on his body started surging, and he immediately uttered in a gloomy voice, King touched this daddy to try. The sound was as if it had been released from the prison of the 18th floor. At this moment, The aura from Long Fei's body was exceptionally terrifying. An unimaginable terror. The suction cups on the tree roots had all stopped, and the dozens of tree roots were right in front of Long Fei, which was less than half a centimeter away. If he moved another half centimeter forward, Long Fei would probably become a dried-up corpse in that instant. But all the roots had stopped. In the depths of the valley, a pair of pitch-black eyes were slightly trembling, as if they were looking at the most terrifying thing in the world. Scram! Long Fei bellowed again. Shua, 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 shua. The dozens of roots seemed to have no hesitation, as if they had received amnesty and disappeared into the void of darkness. The entire valley also returned to silence at this moment. It was so quiet that it was as if nothing had happened. Lan Mai ran up, he turned and looked at Long Fei. Without thinking too much, he ran to Lan Yuan's body, and tears started flowing uncontrollably. Daddy, why are you here? Didn't I say before that you are not allowed to leave the Lan mansion? As they spoke, Lan Yuan gave a heavy glance at Long Fei, and his aura sensed that the entire Black Prison Valley had become tranquil. His heart sank. Who is this kid? At this moment, Long Fei's back was drenched. At that moment, for some reason, he charged out. Facing the unimaginably strong demon beast, standing there, he really did not know what the consequences would be. Now that the demon beast had been scared off, Long Fei heaved a long sigh of relief in his heart. Phew. Tan Dapao also ran over, and said, "Wow, Brother Fei, you're too awesome. That guy was scared out of his wits by you, ha ha ha." Long Fei's face was very calm, but his heart was shaking, and he said, "Don't say any more, hurry up and leave this place." He wasn't sure when the guy inside would react. If they knew that he was only at rank 3, everyone here would probably die. "Let's go," Lan Yuan said anxiously. Tan Dapao also quickly walked to Lan Bao's side. Seeing the huge spear beside Lan Bao, his eyes flashed with a trace of envy. He didn't think too much about supporting Lan Bao up and walked out of the valley. Half an hour later, the few of them walked out of the valley. Huff, 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 huff. Lan Bao's breathing became hurried, and his face became very pale. Tan Dapao looked at him and said with a slight voice, "He's about to collapse." His waist was pierced. Adding on the fact that the pubes was exhausted, he had already fallen into a state of exhaustion. "Big brother, I can't do it anymore." Lan Yuan's expression tensed up. He immediately stepped forward, staggered, and also spat out a large mouthful of blood. "Father." Lan Mai supported Lan Yuan. Long Fei secretly tensed up. It could be seen that not only Lan Bao could not do it, even Lan Yuan was about to fall. Lan Bao held Lan Yuan tightly. "Big brother, leave me behind. Don't let me die in Lan Clan. I don't want those people to laugh at me, and I don't want those people to despise me. If he died outside, the people from Lan Clan would not know for now. It would be of help to Lan Yuan." Lan Yuan said heavily, "Bao Zi, I won't let you die. I definitely won't let you die." Lan Bao laughed softly and said, "Being able to live for so many years is already enough. Second brother is waiting for me in the underworld, I can't let him wait too long." "Lan Mai, uncle was unable to help you, sorry." Lan Mai shook her head as she cried. Lan Yuan frantically searched for pills, but none of them were able to save Lan Bao. Lan Bao looked at Tan Dapao in the end and said, "Little brother, I can see that you like Black Panther, but unfortunately, it has no inscriptions, and in my hands, he has been shamed. I'll give it to you today. Use it as your right hand. I believe. You must be able to make it stronger." While they were talking, Lan Bao moved. Crack, crack. The mechanical spear loosened its grip on his arm, and Lan Bao gently caressed the Black Panther as he said indifferently, "Brother, follow him and walk the path in the future." Finished. Lan Bao's aura became thinner, and finally, it completely stopped. Lan Yuan gritted his teeth until it made a cracking sound. Lan Mai sobbed silently. Seeing this scene, Long Fei couldn't help but feel uncomfortable. At this moment, heh, they're all here. It just so happens that I don't have to go around looking for them. Today, I'll send all of you on your way. In the darkness. Dozens of Yang's disciples walked out, led by an old man with a profound cultivation base. Long Fei was already feeling terrible in his heart, and immediately asked, "Black and white, can you let me unleash it once? Thank you for your support." How can you understand my world? How can you understand my world? Lan Hu, although Lan Bao had nothing to do with it, they died for their brother's sake. The scene caused Long Fei's mood to be uncontrollably affected. He couldn't help but recall that a big bald man who carried a coffin on his back had given up everything for him. His heart was moved. The originally weak Lan Yuan suddenly stood up, his eyes turned sinister as he bellowed, "Humph, Yang Laojiu, with just you people? Aren't you underestimating me, Lan Yuan?" While they were talking, Lan Yuan protected Lan Mai behind him. The aura on his body became heavy and dense. He didn't seem like a seriously injured person at all. Stubborn. Take it head on. Lan Yuan was heavily injured, but for his daughter, even if the sky was falling and he had a breath of life left, he would still live on's behalf, because he was his father. Yang Laojiu sneered, still persisting. "I saw it all just now. You're the only one left in the Lan clan, and you're the only one that's heavily injured. Do you think you're our match? Lan Yuan, I advise you to obediently surrender, and not bring ridicule upon yourself." Yang Laojiu stared at the wound on Lan Yuan's waist, the corners of his mouth slightly hooked up as he sneered. If Lan Yuan was not injured, he would not have come out at all. He was very clear about Lan Yuan's realm. Among the lower-class families in East Imperial City, his strength could be ranked in the top 5. Now that he was heavily injured, this was a rare opportunity. Moreover, this time, he had to pay a considerable price in order to leave the city. A dozen of elite disciples vanished in a flash. He didn't even know how he died. This was not a small blow to the Yangs, but if he could get rid of Lan Yuan, everything would be worth it. "So what if I'm seriously injured?" Lan Yuan said arrogantly, "You dregs want to fight me? Yang Laojiu, stop talking nonsense. Hurry up." He looked as if he couldn't wait any longer. Yang Laojiu's eyes turned cold as he was stunned for a moment. After all, Lan Yuan's cultivation had reached the high god level and was hard to deal with. Seeing that the Yang Laojiu did not dare take action, Lan Yuan could not help but shout out loudly, "Come, are you scared? If you want to die, then come at me, you bunch of dregs." It was very mighty and domineering. This momentum didn't seem like it belonged to a heavily injured person. However, Long Fei was secretly worried in his heart. Yang Laojiu took half a step back to maintain a safe distance. With furrowed brows, he shouted, "Go, no matter what." Since things had already come to this point, it was impossible for them to not go in. Yang Laojiu was someone who had gone through a lot and was not scared just because of a few words from Lan Yuan. The 4 Yang's disciples immediately rushed forward. The Yang's spear in his hand moved, and rushed forward from 4 different directions. Lan Yuan stared at the Yang Laojiu coldly and contemptuously. "Yang Laojiu, you don't dare to go up yourself and let these lackeys die?" While they were talking, Lan Yuan's mind secretly tensed up. His strength could only be used for one strike. To be able to kill these 4 disciples of the Yangs, however, he would also expose himself, and the moment he does, the Yang Laojiu would no longer be afraid. At that time, Lan Mai would be in danger. However, if he didn't make a move, who else would? Lan Mai. Not much cultivation. The other 2 fake evil sect alchemy masters? The 2 of them were Muggle who had just entered the universal realm. Furthermore, they did not even have a baptism of heavenly tribulation, so they did not have much of a cultivation base to deal with the 4 of them. Lan Yuan secretly clenched his fists. The 4 of them were about to charge at them. Just as Lan Yuan was about to make a decision, Long Fei took a step forward and said, "Uncle, leave this type of small fry to me." Lan Yuan was startled, then looked at Long Fei. "You." Yang Laojiu also laughed out loud, "Ha ha ha. Just trash like you. Counterfeit evil sect alchemy master? In truth, the 2 of you are nothing more than trash that hasn't even been baptized by the celestial tribulation. You think you can stop my Yang's disciple? Brat, why aren't you taking a piss?" What are you doing? Jump out to die. Then let him be. Many of the Yang's disciples laughed at him. The Yangs had thoroughly investigated whether Long Fei was a fake evil sect alchemy master or not. If Long Fei was really an evil sect alchemy master, Yangs would not dare to make a move. After all, Yangs was not strong enough to offend the evil sect Pill Alliance. Everyone mocked. Lan Yuan's brows tightened, and said solemnly, "Brat, don't try to show off." The idea moved, and sent a sound transmission. "Brat, take care of Lan Mai for me, don't move recklessly, I'll deal with them." Long Fei had a special kind of power. To be able to force back the demon beast of the Black Prison Valley in Black Prison Valley, he was definitely not simple. Lan Yuan knew clearly in his heart that Long Fei's future achievements would definitely be limitless. He couldn't die. However, without waiting for Lan Yuan to finish speaking, Long Fei had already landed beside Lan Yuan. Buzz! A stream of supreme dragon knife energy was in his hand. And at this moment, Long Fei moved. Ghastly soldier, move. Buzz! The ghost soldier moved. Although its cultivation was not high, it still managed to grab hold of a Yang's disciple in an instant. In the blink of an eye, Long Fei instantly rushed out, his eyes overcast, and said, "Die." When the word dead came out, one of the Yang's disciples' body suddenly sank and cried out in alarm, I can't move." Yang Laojiu's eyes turned sinister as he immediately shouted, "Kill that brat first." The three of them immediately changed their direction and rushed towards Long Fei. Long Fei's mouth hooked up. "Kill me? You guys are still far from it." The Yang Laojiu's gaze tightened, and said with contempt, "Yes, we are far behind, but it is you who are far from us." The cultivation levels of the disciples of the Yangs were all at the soldier peak realm S, and it could be said that the existence of someone who could completely crush Long Fei, whether in terms of strength or speed, was much faster than him. The moment the supreme dragon knife energy in Long Fei's hand chopped down, the attacks of the other three people also instantly blasted out. Tan Depao shouted loudly, "Brother Fei, be careful." Lan Yuan's gaze tensed up, "Be careful." Lan Mai also shouted out, "Be careful behind you." However, Long Fei didn't pay any attention to him. Moreover, in his eyes, there was only the Yang's disciple who was bound up by the ghost soldiers. As for the other three, Long Fei did not seem to care about them at all. Yang Laojiu sneered, "Trash is trash. Is this level of combat for trash from the lower planes? Completely trash. Unusual disdain." Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Boom. In an instant, the spears of the three Yangs pierced through Long Fei's body instantly. Blood spurted out and Long Fei was in extreme pain. Yang Laojiu laughed out loud, "Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Trash is no longer enough to describe you. Kid, this is what happens when you force your way out." He was heavily injured. However, Long Fei's strength did not decrease at all as he slashed his blade downwards. Crack. The body of the Yang's disciple was immediately split into two. Then, the corner of Long Fei's mouth rose, and coldly asked, "Trash? Hee hee. How can you understand my world?" In an instant, the system beep rang. Ding. Chapter 2738 Desperate, I feel helpless too. Chapter 2738 Desperate, I feel helpless too. 3 steel guns were inserted into his chest. Long Fei felt like he was being nailed there. He didn't move at all. In front of him, a Yang's disciple was split into 2, falling into a pool of blood. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Yang's disciple for obtaining 6,800 experience, 200 true spiritual value, and 1 universal value. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, level 4. Buzz. The moment he leveled up, a buzzing sound came out from Long Fei's body. It was as if a golden light had enveloped him, and he felt as comfortable as the spring breeze. Just at this level? So what if I try my best to kill one of them? Aren't I dead? Sigh. Lan Yuan, oh Lan Yuan, look at the people around you. For a piece of trash like him to be brought along, your Lan clan has truly lived to the end. Yang Laojiu did not lament the death of the Yang's disciple, but looked at Lan Yuan with disdain. He had killed one at the cost of his own life. So what? There were still more than a dozen Yang's disciples around, and they could not change the situation of the battle in the slightest. Brother Fei, Tan Depao bellowed out, and ran up as if he was crazy. Lan Yuan frowned, his fists clenched tightly. He did not understand, why would Long Fei do such a thing? Courting death. Lan Mai's heart sank as well. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. Ha ha ha. The Yang Laojiu began to laugh loudly. The surrounding disciples of the Yangs all looked at Long Fei and laughed loudly, as they all laughed at his idiotic behavior. Self-righteous thing. Who does he think he is? He's just trash from the lower planes. Kid, this is the universal realm, not your lower realm. This should be great, right? One of the Yang's disciples said with disdain. Just as they were laughing mockingly, all of a sudden, a steel spear loosened. And then, he was slowly pressed down by a force. Clang. A steel spear was squeezed out of his body by a force and dropped to the ground. There was no shock. But the most shocking scene was that after the steel spear fell to the ground, it had obviously pierced through Long Fei's body. In that instant, the wound healed at a speed visible to the naked eye. In the end, there were no scars at all. If it wasn't for the fact that his clothes were torn, it would have been as if he hadn't been injured at all. Many people in the crowd rubbed their eyes, thinking that they were hallucinating. Clang. Another steel spear fell down. The wound once again healed at the speed of light. Clang. Another sound. Another steel spear fell to the ground. The wound healed instantly without a single scar. This time, it was as if everyone was staring at Long Fei like they were looking at a ghost. Long Fei slightly stretched his body. Hey. The joints exploded. There were no injuries at all. Seeing Yang Laojiu's stupefied gaze, Long Fei smiled slightly, and asked, "Despair? Even if there was only a sliver of blood left?" As long as Long Fei could level up in that instant, even if his head fell off, he would instantly revive. This was the power of the game system. It could also be called a bug-like existence. So what if the 3 spears pierced through the body? I leveled up and instantly recovered. He could even heal all the injuries on his body. What was fierce? This was it. Of course. This was because Long Fei still had a lot of experience, otherwise, he wouldn't dare to do such a thing. He had wanted black and white to explode. But the black and white did not do so because the black and white knew that Long Fei's body was not strong enough at the moment. Even if he could hold on for a few minutes, his body would still be severely injured. Not until the very last moment, not until the moment of life and death, the black and white danger zone would not allow Long Fei to use his black and white power. Stunned. He was completely stupefied. This was not human. The dozen or so Yang's disciples felt a stir in their hearts, and all of them took a few steps back. Tan Depao was startled for half a second, then shouted out loudly, "Brother Fei, you are too awesome, right? Not even dying? Ha ha ha. It's too powerful." Lan Yuan's eyes also darkened as he looked at Long Fei's back. How could this happen? In that case, he would definitely die. Could it be? He has a holy vein on him. Could it be that there really are resurrected blood vein and undead blood vein in this world? Lan Mai also curiously looked at Long Fei, but she didn't care too much about it. She was worried about her father. Yang Laojiu's gaze tightened, and said solemnly, "Kid, you won't die, right?" Long Fei grinned and said, "That's right, come hit me." It was also at this moment. Just now, it was too risky. If he did not kill a person, he would have died. The muscles at the corner of Yang Laojiu's eyes twitched slightly. With a heavy sound, he said, "Lame duck, let's see how much longer you can bounce for. Kill them all." As soon as he finished, 2 more Yang's disciples also added on. It was now 5 against 1. Yang Laojiu said, "He hit the vital points, I want to see how he will continue to live." The 5 Yang's disciples instantly moved. Long Fei stood in place and slightly swept his eyes across the place. Tan Depao replied, "Brother Fei." Long Fei said, "No need." He could not be distracted at this point of time. Tan Depao could not help him at all. Kill. Yang Laojiu suddenly shouted. The 5 of them moved at the same time. All of them released their killing moves, directly locking onto Long Fei's vital points and attacking him at the same time. Huff. Long Fei heaved a small sigh of relief. Lan Yuan said in a deep voice, Gate of life, pubes, heart, hindbrain. He immediately pointed out the locations where the 5 of them were attacking. Any part of it was a fatal blow. Long Fei's heart trembled. He still did not move at all. He was waiting for the moment their attacks descended, the moment they neared him. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the attacks all fell. The 5 of them moved closer to Long Fei. Long Fei moved, ghastly soldier. Shua. The ghost soldier stopped another person in an instant as Long Fei grabbed onto the supreme dragon knife's energy with both of his hands and slashed down heavily with his blade. Bam! 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 As the 4 attacks landed, Long Fei's body heavily sank into the ground. S health point had almost instantly bottomed out due to the 4 major vital points, but it was also at this moment that his health point instantly swelled up, and the 4 major points injuries were instantly healed. Heh. Long Fei laughed sinisterly. I just won't die. Despair. Despair. In an instant, he died. In an instant, he was resurrected. Anyone who saw it would feel despair. Moreover, the 4 energies from before had completely struck Long Fei's vital points. It could be said to be an existence that was dead for sure, but Long Fei was still full of energy, and his wounds instantly healed. Lan Yuan was stunned. It can't really be the undying blood vein, right? Level 5 soldier. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level 5. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up, obtaining a reward item. Chapter 2739 Beaten Magic Power. Chapter 2739 Beaten Magic Power System Reward. Long Fei's gaze tensed up, and he thought to himself, it's time to touch on the big prize again. System, please give me some strength. I am in urgent need of some cultivation technique. It would be best if I could get some at the divine level. He prayed to himself. He didn't have any combat skills at the moment. If he could reward a set of divine level martial arts, that would be great. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the system's reward. The reward is Beaten Magic Power. Ding. Release cultivation. Hearing the system beep, Long Fei was a little confused. What the hell? Get beaten up. There's even a fucking divine art. Mastered spiritual art. System, come out and help me cultivate the Beaten Magic Power. I can guarantee you that I won't be able to beat you. Your father here has the same surname as you. Long Fei immediately became angry. He had never heard of anyone receiving a beating with godly skills. Isn't this nonsense? After all, this was the universal realm, and the system was the primordial system. Beaten magic power? This was called a reward. Long Fei really wanted to beat the system up. However, it couldn't be hit. Helplessly, Long Fei looked at the system reward Beaten Magic Power and let out a long sigh. Fuck, I'm really in despair. Cultivate. It was really quite helpless. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for successfully cultivating it. Do you want to check the technique manuals? Yes, sir. Long Fei was feeling very downcast. No one wanted to receive such a reward. Beaten Magic Power. Are they going to get beaten up? Skill path. Beaten Magic Power grade, Grand Mist level 1, the level of hit increases, the grade will increase accordingly. Cooldown, 1 hour. Consumption, 300 True Spirit Description, releasing the Beaten Magic Power will only last for 1 hour. Description 2, release the cultivation technique. Defense will not change. Description 3, releasing a cultivation technique will allow you to absorb all the damage you can take. It will allow you to erupt, causing you to absorb twice the damage you can take. Special reminder, if a player is unable to take it, their damage will disappear. Description 4, the more times you are beaten, the stronger your physical defense will be. It will be impervious to water and fire and invulnerable to weapons. The description of a masochistic cultivation technique had reached stage 4. This was the first time they had met. Long Fei looked at it, and started laughing bitterly. Just like that, I want to be beaten, just like that. System, am I happy to be beaten up by others? Just you wait. Sooner or later, I will find out who designed this game system. Once I find it, I will let you know what's called beaten magic power. Complaining is complaining. However, Long Fei also knew that this technique was extremely helpful to him. All attacks were based on the amount of damage taken. Once accumulated to a certain degree, it would turn into 2 times the damage output. This type of explosive attack could be said to be very powerful. Take damage, burst damage. You hit me 10 times, I'll hit you 1 time, but the power of 1 punch is equal to the power of 20 of your punches. Either don't do it, I will kill you the moment I do it. Moreover, the duration of the beaten magic power is 1 hour, the amount of damage an hour can take, and then it will explode out. Long Fei was excited just thinking about it. Long Fei's mouth curved up as he stared at Yang Laojiu and said, "Come again, is that all you have? Is that all your powerhouse from the higher planes have?" Fart. Spitting out a mouthful of saliva, Long Fei said in disdain, "Truly trash, dregs, weak to the point of exploding, unable to kill a single person. What use do you guys have? Mocking me? Do you think you are qualified?" Originally, Universal Realm had a natural sense of superiority towards those who had transcended tribulation in a low plane, as if he was superior to others. Long Fei hadn't even changed from the baptism of heavenly tribulation. He could be said to be the muggle of muggle trash among trash, yet now, he was laughing at him. Yang Laojiu's eyes flashed with a cold light as he clenched his fists. The rage raged. The surrounding dozen or so Yang's disciples all looked extremely unhappy. A mere inferior muggle dares to mock us? Brat, if I don't kill you today, my surname is not Yang. If you want to die, I'll grant you your wish. Kill him. Let's attack together. Long Fei had successfully angered everyone. Lan Yuan didn't know what Long Fei was doing. If dozens of people attacked together, their bodies would be pierced into sieve after a single attack. You can still live. Even if it was an undying blood vein, it was impossible. Lan Yuan said solemnly, "Brat, step back." Long Fei slightly said, "Uncle, don't worry, I know what I'm doing." Scum. Come together. I have already killed the 2 of you, but I am still unharmed. I really don't know where the superiority of you Universal Realm warriors came from. Come on. Bite me. Infuriated, he added fuel to the fire. Long Fei was afraid that the other party would not come and hit him. The beaten magic power only needed 1 word. Despicable. The more despicable a person was, the more enmity they would incur. This was something that others would be unable to contain. Without waiting for Yang Laojiu to speak, the dozen or so Yang's disciples all rushed forward with surging fury. Kid. Die. Kill him. Bang, bang, bang. Dozens of people rushed forward in a flash, all of them with their weapons out, with all sorts of powerful techniques locking onto Long Fei. Long Fei's eyes darkened slightly. The corner of his mouth slightly lifted, and the idea moved, beaten magic power. Buzz. A low hum sounded from within his body. He activated his divine arts. Long Fei looked at the dozen or so Yang's disciples. How much energy could he absorb? Who? Long Fei let out a light breath. He definitely could not endure more than 10 different kinds of injuries, so he had to increase his power in an instant in order to be able to endure them. The key was to level up. Long Fei's idea locked onto the person at the front. Ghastly soldier. Shua. The ghost film pounced and the person in the lead instantly landed with a stupefied expression. It was also at this time. Long Fei suddenly moved, and the supreme dragon knife in his hand slashed down. At the same time, more than a dozen attacks landed. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Long Fei's body was instantly pierced, as though his entire body was a hedgehog. Brat, you're crazy. Trash from the lower planes, are we people that you can laugh at? Die. Buzz. A ray of light enveloped them as Long Fei revealed his blooded teeth and laughed sinisterly. I said it before, I am immortal, Ha ha ha. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Currently level 6. At the same time, the beaten energy was frantically being absorbed. He can't die even like this. This boy, this boy, is he a ghost? That's impossible. How can a low-level muggle endure my power? What the hell is going on? Again, whoosh whoosh whoosh, asterisk in the blink of an eye, another dozen attacks came falling down on him. Long Fei laughed sinisterly, and then slashed down with anger once again. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 7. You dregs of the universal realm, come again. Rumble. Another wave of damage and absorption. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level 8. Crazy. It was as if they had all gone mad. Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. One slash after another, slash after slash, this was too awesome. This was the universal realm, the strongest plane under ancient world. It was like riding on a rocket, leveling up quickly. However, in that moment, Long Fei took a look at the system's experience slot, and his brows tightened. Damn, have you used up all of your experience points? Chapter 2740 Boss, it's your turn. Chapter 2740 Boss, it's your turn. It was also 100 million experience. From level 0 to the current 9th level of warrior, it was only used up at level 10. Isn't leveling up too difficult? Looking at the leveling up experience, Long Fei was speechless. Damn, it has 60 million experience. The heck? Without waiting for Long Fei to think further, the Yang's disciples were still attacking. However, the remaining disciples of the Yangs were already stunned, their expressions had already become abnormal. In their eyes, Long Fei was simply an immortal existence. No matter how he was killed, no matter how injured he was, it was useless. Instantly revived. Instantly, the wound was repaired. He was not human. His eyes were filled with despair. Not only that, every time one of the Yang's disciples died, Long Fei would become stronger and stronger. In a few minutes, he was already at the same cultivation level as them. Right now, the only difference was that they had primordial physiques. Since Long Fei had not been baptized by the heavenly tribulation, their physiques had become stronger. But was it useful? Let alone a grand mist body, even if it was a divine level body, God's tribe body would still be useless. No matter how strong one's physique is there an indestructible body? Ah! I'll kill you. Another attack. Long Fei's mind turned sinister, and thought to himself, I can't get injured in such a short time, without experience, I won't be able to recover instantly. The beaten magic power is still continuing. These few minutes, the damage that Long Fei had suffered was extremely huge. It was enough to kill a person 17 or 18 times, but Long Fei managed to endure it. A huge amount of energy was accumulated within his body, such that he could take a beating. But not enough. Huff. Long Fei let out a light breath and said lightly, Fight? What are you, the scum of Universal Realm, going to fight with lousy 4 soldiers peak realm, right? Look at my peak soldier strength. The idea moved. He clenched his fists. Wang. Long Fei sensed the power that came from being at the peak of the soldier realm, then smiled coldly and said, The feeling of leveling up is great. It's getting stronger. Shua. With a fierce charge, he lowered his fists and sent them flying. Boom. With a dull thud, Long Fei was pushed back half a step, while the Yang's disciple was pushed back a few steps. His cultivation base. Lan Yuan was astonished. Unknowingly, his cultivation had broke through continuously in an instant, and he is already at the 9th level of warrior realm. This speed. It's too terrifying. What kind of talent does this kid possess? Even if it's holy Vanes, their divine level physiques can't compare to it, right? The only one who can be compared to me is probably the god's tribe blood vein, right? Lan Yuan was extremely shocked. The immortality Long Fei displayed and the speed at which he broke through was unimaginable, completely unimaginable. One person, one level. This speed was incomparable. In that previous clash of fists, his strength was obviously not any weaker than the Yang's disciples, or perhaps even by a bit. In the distance, the corners of Yang Laojiu's eyes twitched as the killing intent in his eyes became even stronger. Ha ha ha. Long Fei laughed deeply. The power of the 9th level of warrior is only mediocre. Heh heh. Without waiting for the Yang's disciple to stabilize himself, Long Fei immediately flew over and struck him with both fists. Bam! Bang! Bang bang! Unable to withstand it, Long Fei staggered backwards, increasing his speed and strength. Bam! A punch! And it was also at this moment that Long Fei's fist firmly struck down. After a few punches, the Yang's disciple's head was covered in blood, followed by a system notification sound. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Yang's disciple for obtaining 6,300 experience, 200 true spiritual value, and 1 universal value. Long Fei raised his blood-stained fist, the corners of his mouth curled up, and his eyes swept across. Necks. Those Yang's disciples slightly shrunk. He didn't dare to step forward. Long Fei laughed faintly. Not coming? If you're not coming, then I'm going up. Sure. Long Fei rushed over. He had finally made it out of the city. If he didn't kill more, wouldn't that be a loss? Since they couldn't kill the demon beast, they could kill others as well. He couldn't let go of any experience. Moreover, Long Fei needed more energy now. His energy was not full yet, so he needed to endure more attacks. Aren't you people from the universal realm? Aren't you superior? You scum, can't you put some effort into this? Aren't you guys too weak? Long Fei said in disdain, because he wanted to make these people angry. Ah! Ah! The disciple charged forward again. Just as Long Fei had said, they were warriors from the universal realm. They were born with a sense of superiority. Crazy. When the attacks of the few people landed, Long Fei did not retaliate, and his body sank. Bam! Bam! Several punches struck his body, causing blood to trickle out from the corner of Long Fei's mouth, and he laughed. Too weak, not strong enough, not strong enough. Can you use a little more strength? Have you eaten yet? Long Fei was now a 9th level of warrior. His strength, speed, and defense all became stronger. Again, I'll have to trouble everyone to use more strength. Take out your universal realm's superior aura. Long Fei had a cheap smile on his face, which was extremely irritating. Those Yang's disciples all had reddened eyes as they went into a berserk state. His attacks had no pattern, and he could only unleash his most powerful attack. Ah! Ah! I'm going to kill you. Long Fei blocked it with his life force, and said solemnly, that's more like it, hitting me, using your greatest strength to hit me, ha ha ha. Bang, bang, bang. Long Fei was spurting blood and his entire body was in extreme pain. In his heart, he had scolded the 18 generations of ancestors of the system a few times as well. If you don't get beaten up, you won't have strength. Your mother. Suffering. It really was a masochist. Long Fei still had to endure it. Can't collapse. Once it collapsed, the energy from the blow would dissipate. Boom, boom, boom. A few minutes later, ding. System notification. The hit is full of energy. Buzz. Also at this moment, a streak of blazing energy appeared in Long Fei's mind. This was a state which was completely filled with energy, and right now, with just a single movement from Long Fei's idea, this energy could instantly explode outwards. The energy from being hit wasn't something that could be released just because it was full. It could explode at any time. But, under the state of max power, the user would be even more powerful. The explosive force was even stronger. Who? Long Fei exhaled. Fuck, you're finally full, right? Looking at the surrounding Yang's disciples who were still attacking, Long Fei smirked and said, it's my turn now. You just punched me 38 times. I'll return it to you. Suddenly, with one hand grabbing a Yang's disciple's neck, his right fist punched out fiercely at his face. Bang, bang, bang. A few minutes later, all the Yang's disciples had died. All of them were slaughtered. Only one Yang Laojiu remained. Long Fei laughed. Boss, it's your turn. Chapter 2741, Punching Seconds. Chapter 2741, Punching Seconds. All of the Yang's disciples that were brought along were annihilated. Either he would be killed instantly or Long Fei would torture him to death. Only one Yang Laojiu remained. Although only Yang Laojiu was left, he did not panic. There was no fear in his eyes, but instead an even stronger killing intent. Yang Laojiu said indifferently, "Lan Yuan, I never thought that you would have such a talent by your side. You have been concealing your strength all this time, pretending to be a pig to eat the tiger. Humph. What a pity. It can only be the cultivation of the warrior realm. Continuously breaking through. In just a few minutes, this could be impossible." In the eyes of the Yang Laojiu, it seemed like Long Fei was concealing his strength, and was slowly erupting it afterwards. Lan Yuan laughed. "Yang Laojiu, the warrior realm will torture and kill all of the Yang's elites that you brought here. You won't accept it. Even if you aren't convinced, you should at least be convinced, right? Now that you're the only one left, do you think you can still kill us?" Lan Yuan glanced at Long Fei and sent a sound transmission to him. "Kid, step back." Was Long Fei hiding his strength? Or could it be that he had broken through continuously in just a few minutes? He didn't know. However, after listening to Yang Laojiu's words, his heart also slowly tilted towards Long Fei hiding his strength from the very beginning. Even a holy vein wouldn't be able to make such a quick breakthrough. None of this is the point now. The most important thing was the Yang Laojiu. Long Fei did not move as he stared at Yang Laojiu, at the golden light emitting from his body. If the Westlaw Grandmaster was a small boss, then the Yang Laojiu was considered a big boss. How could he let it go? The Yang Laojiu sneered. His eyes turned sinister and the killing intent in his eyes became abnormally cold. "I can't kill you. Hee. Lan Yuan, you are already severely injured, but you think you can still be my opponent. Humph. I can show him the Hades in one move." While they were talking, Yang Laojiu's aura suddenly moved. Lan Yuan immediately shouted, "Kid, be careful." At the same time, Lan Yuan suddenly moved. His speed was extremely fast. In an instant, he had charged in front of Long Fei and formed two palms with his fists, shouting, "Scram! Buzz!" Power surged. His palm split apart. In the time it took for a spark to fly off of a piece of flint, a pair of black iron palms descended from the sky. Rumble. 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 Explosions rang out in the air, unceasingly spreading out. Too fast. Long Fei couldn't see it clearly at all. If it was him, he definitely wouldn't have been able to stop the instantaneous transformation. Universal Realm's power was far stronger than he had imagined. Bang, bang, bang. Lan Yuan retreated explosively. With every step he took, there was a footprint that was more than 10 centimeters deep on the ground. He had to retreat a full 10 steps before he finally stopped. His blood was boiling under his chest, and he couldn't hold it in any longer. He spat out a mouthful of black blood. His face turned even paler. In the distance. However, compared to Lan Yuan's, his injuries were much lighter. Seeing Lan Yuan spitting out a mouthful of black blood, he laughed sinisterly. "Lan Yuan, you're already out of oil, stop struggling fearlessly. Today, both of you are dead for sure." "Ha ha ha." Lan Mai ran over and said, "Father." Lan Yuan said solemnly, "Don't come over here, kid. Take good care of my daughter and bring her away." With a heavy gaze, he looked at Long Fei and said, "Lan Mai is my only daughter, you must take good care of him." Then, just as Lan Yuan was about to die with the Yang Laojiu, Long Fei said lightly, "I can't take care of people. Take care of your daughter." While they were talking, Long Fei slowly walked forward. Lan Yuan shouted, "Brat, what are you trying to do? You don't think that you are his opponent, right? Yang Laojiu is a peak realm spirit master." Yang Laojiu also sneered, "You really overestimate yourself." Long Fei slowly walked forward and laughed, "I don't care what realm he is in, if I'm unhappy, then he shouldn't think about enjoying himself." Step by step, they walked towards the Yang Laojiu. Tan Depao also anxiously said, "Brother Fei, come back quickly." Lan Yuan also said, "Brat, you can't beat him, come back." he said with sound transmission. Brat, I'm almost at my limit, let me hold him back. You guys hurry up and leave, I beg you, help me take care of Lan Mai. Long Fei acted as if he did not hear their words. The Yang Laojiu's smile became even more sinister as he watched Long Fei approach step by step, and said indifferently, you are walking towards death. How dare you, a mere warrior realm, be so rampant in front of me? You overestimate yourself. If you want to die, I'll grant you that wish. The Yang Laojiu laughed sinisterly. It was also at this time that Long Fei suddenly stopped, and his heart secretly heaved a sigh of relief, his finally within attack range. Buzz. Yang Laojiu's figure disappeared. Lan Yuan immediately shouted, be careful. Long Fei did not think too much about it. His feet trembled and directly stabbed into the ground, sinking into his knees. Just make yourself look like a tree stump. His speed couldn't compare to hers. Could not keep up with the reaction of the Yang Laojiu at all. He had never thought of competing with the Yang Laojiu in terms of speed. He had to withstand the first strike. He could only carry it. Long Fei's mind sank, his body became stable, then his gaze turned heavy as he said, come, if you can't kill me, I'll kill you. You're still crazy. Die. Yang Laojiu hacked down with his pair of black palms, directly striking Long Fei's chest. Hualala. Hualala. The strong wind raged as it heavily struck down. Boom. Long Fei did not dodge. A pair of black iron palms forcibly struck onto his chest and the clothes at his chest fiercely tore apart. The clothes at Long Fei's back was also torn apart by an extremely strong shockwave. Phut! Blood sprayed wildly. His chest was cracked and his internal organs felt like they were about to shatter. The pain was excruciating. At this moment, the health point only had a little bit of HP remaining. The corners of Yang Laojiu's mouth curled as he laughed sinisterly. You want to be crazy with me? Humph. You dog, you think that you are qualified to be so arrogant in front of me? At this moment, Yang Laojiu retracted both his hands. His pupils suddenly shrank just like a needle, because, at this moment, he saw the imprint on Long Fei's chest. God's tribe curse mark. As a member of the universal realm, he was very clear on what it meant to be a God's tribe curse mark. His body trembled slightly, and he stared at Long Fei in shock. You are. Too shocking. He was shocked, speechless. Long Fei forcefully endured the pain, revealing his blooded teeth, and said sinisterly, since you have seen it, then you should die even more. This is the universal realm. Long Fei was not strong enough. He did not know how to cultivate the power of ancient inheritance yet. Once the God's tribes on his body were discovered, he would fall into endless danger. Before he was able to fight against the God's tribe curse on his chest must not be exposed. Long Fei's eyes darkened, and the idea moved. Beaten magic power. Explode for me. Buzz. That burning energy channel instantly used up all of its energy and exploded. Long Fei's fist combusted with flames, and he punched out. Explode. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.